Can I please have it?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. So everybody is aware, we are recording our meeting via WCAT6, which is our local access network. We're also going out via Zoom and live streaming via Facebook. The meetings will also be available on YouTube later on also. Because of social media requirements and using a meeting app, if anybody is going to be speaking or gets called upon, please identify who you are and what your position is, or if you're a resident of the town or you're an employee of the town, what it is. That meets the social media requirements. So thank you for that. And if anybody else is recording, please let us know so we can let the rest of the public know. With that said, the first thing on the agenda is presentation by representatives from Verizon One Talk Services on the possibility of upgrading the town's current phone system for all offices. I assume that's you gentlemen, right?
Yes, it is.
Welcome to the meeting. Welcome to Warren. Have you been here before?
Yeah, we have.
All right. Very good. Warren's a nice little town, quaint town. Welcome to it. So what do you have for us?
Sure. I'm going to probably start off with just some quick introductions of who we are. We are from Verizon Wireless, on the government team. I support all of Worcester County and Norfolk County with all the municipal accounts, police, fire, DPW, town halls, etc. We work off of state contracts, which you would be purchasing off of, so it's already discounted, already pre-negotiated. You're getting the same discounts as like the state police and other municipal communities. With that said, we met with, well, I'll let Roger introduce himself and.
Just say what your name is, though.
Oh, Vahe Kavacha, sorry.
Nice meeting you.
Good evening. Thank you for the time tonight. Roger Marshall, I'm the Associate Director for our Massachusetts Government Account Team.
And Mike Nugent, Solutions Architect, live here in the Commonwealth as well. I partnered with Vahe and 6 others. We met with Jim and had some conversations.
Very good.
We're excited to share that with you.
All right, very good.
Chad? Yeah,
Yes.
Chad, if you want to give a quick intro.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chad Mendelson. I'm with Masters Telecom. We're a Verizon partner. We help assist with implementation support and everything that goes along with the One Talk phone program that Verizon offers.
Thank you. Nice meeting you all. So who wants to start first?
So I think we were prepared to talk about the system, capabilities, support. Vahe mentioned the state contract. I guess we wanted to open it up to the board if there was questions to kind of start there.
Okay. Did you have a PowerPoint that you wanted to share at all?
We do have one,
Yes.
yes.
You already sent that?
Yep.
So we'll open that up too, so we can talk as we go.
Okay.
Right now, I don't think I have any questions. A lot of our questions were about, because we looked at the VoIP systems, and we know with the copper landlines, they're having issues and they most likely won't be supported in the future. It also limits us on what we can do with our services. So we know we have to upgrade our system. Our system is very outdated right now. And the problem we're having is we can't get phones that could work off of our system. And as we have phones that break, we just can't replace them. So we'd have to spend a lot of money either upgrading our system and upgrading the infrastructure to support the new phones, or we just have to rethink of what we're doing. The VoIP system, our internet is not the best right now, and we're looking at how we can upgrade that to get better support. And I work for a government agency, and I've had nothing but problems with the VoIP phones because there's constant spam calls. When the internet goes down, your phone goes down, and you have nothing. So in emergency situations or in an office, it's not really practical to have, especially with not having an internet that we can really rely on right now. But your services kind of change the game for us, because even if we do lose internet, we go out via cellular. So we still have access, which seems to be solving our solution. If we lose our internet, we still have our phone, which I think kind of changed the game for us here. I know I'm very intrigued with it, and I don't think anybody had any problems with the phones at all. I think everybody's fairly happy with them. So,
And I think that statement around redundancy is accurate. There's a couple different ways that redundancy is built into the system, and as we, go through and share the information, that will come out. But yes, you hit it right on the head.
thank you. Do you want to go through the PowerPoint now?
If there's no other questions, we're happy to do that.
No. Do you have any questions, Mr. Belize?
No, sir.
Okay.
Before we get started, I just want to give you a quick overview of it as well. The system is called OneTalk. It's a hosted phone system where it's based in the cloud. So there's no equipment to manage on-prem. You don't need a closet full of either servers and equipment. All it needs is either internet access or a cellular connection. So from a maintenance perspective, it's just plug and play. And we're able to port your existing numbers onto the phones, so you keep all your same phones, and we can actually, this is a good time to upgrade, and if you have a wish list, now's the time to do it, where we can customize the whole solution for you. So everything's in the cloud, and it's designed so you never miss a phone call. So if your internet goes down, the cellular capability of the phone will work. Can even work with your cell phone. You can put your phone on up to 7 devices. So if you want to put it on your iPad, your desktop, your laptop, if you want another phone at your house, you could do that. So it's designed so you never miss a phone call.
And I like that too, because it's almost like call forwarding, where even if you were out and about doing something, if you get a call in the office, you could have it ring out on one of the phones, so somebody still is getting the call.
Yeah,
That makes it very
100% right.
useful.
The system was designed with mobility in mind. Even prior to COVID, the system had been designed that way. And of course, now post-COVID, we're sort of, in this, kind of constant hybrid model, if you will, in a lot of cases. So again, spot on with your comments.
Very good. All right. So let's.
First slide.
So I think we'll hand it over to Chad now to kind of run through the deck. So we've gone through this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this quick agenda, we did introductions. Vahe did a brief overview. We'll do a little bit more in depth on the capabilities, equipment options, and Verizon has gotten some approvals for some specialized pricing for you, so we'll review that. The model phones that you'd be able to select from, some of the other differentiators like the app and the failover, and then lastly we'll do some question and answers. We go to the next slide. So like Vahe said, it's called OneTalk. It is a fully cloud-based voice over IP system. It requires, like I said, some sort of internet connection, whether it's cellular, Wi-Fi, hardwired. It will function over virtually any internet connection out there. Verizon has multiple sites, multiple servers at each site for redundancy, so their end is very strong, multiple sites across the country for redundancy. So their system will remain up as much as humanly possible based on what they have there. The system itself gives you the full functions that you may have now, the same functions you see on a standard system. You have that auto attendant functionality, think calling the town of Warren, press 1 for the police department, 2 for town hall, 3 to pay a bill, whatever the case may be. You can also do dial by name or dial by extension. The auto attendant also has two parts to it. During the day, it plays your standard daytime recording, and then nights, weekends, and holidays, it automatically switches over based on a schedule to an off-hours recording, basically, saying, thank you for calling Town of Warren, we're currently closed. So it helps with your constituents. They're not calling if you town hall closes at 4 or 4:30, and they don't realize you close, before 5, and they call in and they get the standard message. They get hang up and call back, they don't get anyone, but, when they hear that message saying, we're closed, they realize that, they can leave a message or call back during normal business hours. So it just helps with your image and quality of service to your customers. System has hunt groups, or sometimes known as ring groups. So, you press 1 for the police department, it can ring, multiple dispatchers or multiple people in whatever department it's going to, or it can do a hunt functionality where it goes from one to the next until it finds someone who answers that call. Like Vahe had said, this is a time to be able to reconfigure the entire system. So, if it's just been working the way it's been working, just because that's the way it's always been, this gives you that opportunity to reconfigure and make it work the way it works for your community in the future. And the nice part that it's being cloud-based is that can be changed on a whim. You can, send an email out to us for support, which we provide to you. We won't need these changes made, or this person left, or they forgot their voicemail password, and we can take care of all that support for you in the background. The system is a full call transfer system, so you'll be able to transfer calls between any of your extensions, between all departments. So it unifies your calling system for one single system. So you can transfer calls internally, and it also gives you the ability to transfer calls outside the agency and transfer calls to some towns and cities and towns have an 800 number to process credit cards. So I could technically transfer that call directly to there or to another agency if they need to get a hold of someone. For internal transfers, I can do direct consultative as well as call park. And then you're going to get your standard feature set of, call waiting, call forwarding, 3-way calling. Every user gets voicemail with voicemail to email, and also the ability to do up to a 6-way conference call. All of these are included at no extra cost. Everyone gets the same features and functions. You don't have to pick from, basic, limited, or premium type subscription. Everyone gets the same features and functions. So it's across the board in that respect there. Roger had mentioned the mobile app integration. The system was built on their mobile platform. It's the same platform that this resides on as their cell phones. So you get the same security and reliability from a desk phone system that you get from like the cellular systems. It sits right on the core of their same network. That mobile app can be downloaded on any Android, any iPhone, on any carrier. And then also it can be loaded onto a desktop computer like Windows or Mac, as well as laptops, computers, tablets, Chromebooks, virtually anything that has a standard operating system you can make and receive calls from. The app can be loaded on up to 5 different devices, as well as your desk phone. So you can make and receive calls virtually anywhere you have access to cell, internet, Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be. And then the really nice feature, especially for public safety, if I'm not in the office and I want to call back a customer, I open up that OneTalk app on my smartphone, and when I make a call from the app, it's going to show the main number to my department. So if it's a police officer, they're going to show the PD phone number as that outgoing caller ID. If I'm in the town hall, it's going to show the town hall main number as that outgoing call. So it's not going to show my cell phone number. So I get to pick and choose. Do I use my cell phone, or do I want to call from my business phone number? So you basically get 2 phone numbers on your cell phone. One's business, one's personal, or if the town owned, you get 2 different business numbers to pick from. But you don't have to make calls from your cell phone. Obviously, you don't always want someone to have that cell phone number to call you back 24 hours a day. When they call back that number, it'll come back to the main office system. There's intercom, so I can do a one-to-one intercom between phones, and then there's also a group paging functionality. So they do a group page all in each office. And then the last item here is busy landfill, which is also known as call presence. It shows a green light if you're available, and then if you're on a current call, it will show red as busy on a call. So a bunch of features here. This is the core of the features, is about 60 plus features of OneTalk. But these are the most important that most customers are looking for. Any questions or comments there?
The only thing I have is, it seems like you have an awful lot with these phones, and with a lot of our employees that are gonna be very new to these phones,
Mm-hmm.
will you be able to provide like a training class to go over 'em
Yes.
with the employees, so they
Sure.
know how to use the phones? Because it's great having all the features, but if they don't know what the features are, or if they're even there, it's not gonna help
Yes.
them. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you want to skip to the next slide, I have that listed there, and it goes into a full slide there, but.
One
you can
second,
see
sir.
in the middle-
1 second. The chief, police chief has a question.
Hey, Chief
Oh,
Malone.
sure.
Warren Pete. I do have one question. We have, our dispatch is off-site, it's, we're regional, and we have a lobby phone where they just press a button and automatically goes to them, or is that a capability of this also?
So if you're gonna call at the PD and you want to transfer it to dispatch, you can do that by one
Well,
button.
two
Oh.
questions, actually. If we have a walk-in right now, we have a phone outside for our current system, because we're all, the system we have is what Rutland has, Rutland Regional, so it's all internal, so they can pick it up, press a button that says dispatch, and it goes right to dispatch.
So it's like a phone on a wall?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and then the second question is obviously if someone calls my number, you dial 0 and it goes to Rutland. That's capabilities that you guys would have too, right?
Correct.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Easier?
So you can see, let's see, where is it listed here? Free lifetime support. So that was part of the reason why Verizon uses us as a partner. We provide a lot of these. I'll kind of jump here to the free. So free installation, free portal setup, free configuration, and free lifetime support. That's what we provide here at Masters. Part of that lifetime support is training. So we do webinars, and we can record the webinars for you users. We'll train them how to use their phones, download the apps, use the apps, and then we can also do a secondary training for administrators if anyone wants to learn how to use or manage the online portal where everything's controlled. We can train you how to do that as well. Or majority of our customers just email us and tell us what they need done, and we take care of that for you. Part of the installation is we actually have a technician come on site, unbox the phones, put them together, and plug them in at each desk, verify they're working. So that's included at no cost as well. All of your setup and configuration of call flow and usernames and all of that is taken care of by us as well. So there's no extra cost behind this. There's no maintenance. There's no upkeep. It's just your straight cost there, and the system is on the state contract, so it's on the IPT 72 state agreement under the state of Massachusetts, which means you're, as a government agency, you don't have any long-term agreement here, so it's just a month-to-month contract. You don't have to sign for anything long-term. The phones themselves have a low upfront cost, and we'll go into that in just a minute. And then, actually, there was an error here. The desk phones, I believe, are $22 a month, not $25. That was an error on my part, so I apologize there. So each user, you'd be looking at $22 a month for the monthly service. And that includes unlimited usage, that includes long distance, and everything that we've discussed behind the system. And then if you do have users that don't need a desk phone, they're out in the field 100% of the time, they can be an application-only user at $15 a month, which gives them the same features and functions. It just works at application only, and again, no desk phone is included in that package. The two phones you see here, the T54 and the T67, both of these have promotions that Verizon has gotten you discounts on. Big difference here is the T54 resides on your network, so it plugs into your broadband or your cable connection. And then the T67 LTE has the Verizon SIM card built in, so this requires power, and it uses the Verizon signal to make and receive calls over the Verizon network. And this can also be plugged into your network, so you have a primary connection to your network, and if your network goes down, they can easily switch over to the LTE as a backup, so you have your primary and secondary connections. I know on the west side of town, you don't have the greatest Verizon coverage, so that's why the phones give you the option to do hardwire plug-in or Wi-Fi, or use the LTE. So you have a bunch of different options and features here. You could technically, if you do lose internet in the town hall, you could actually turn on your hotspot on your cell phone and connect your cell phone to your desk phone, and that would provide the internet access as well. So there's a lot of different ways to keep the system up and running. You're not relying on one internet connection and one way out to the internet. So it is very multifunctional in that respect. Any questions there?
So the T54 you can't use as like for a cell phone connection, like the 67.
No,
Where the 67, if
that-
a system goes down, it picks up wireless and utilizes
Yes.
wireless.
If your primary connection goes down, your wired connection,
Yeah.
you will get a prompt on the screen to ask you if you want to switch over to cellular. And from there, as long as there's cellular coverage wherever that phone is located, it'll pick it up and start working.
So, it's, both these have Bluetooth, so can you use, Bluetooth earbuds?
Yeah, so you can
Okay.
use any standard Bluetooth headset on the market. You can use earbuds or Apple AirPods, anything out there standard that you use on your cell phone. You just sync it to your desk phone just like you do on your cell phone, and you can sync, I think, usually about 5 different devices to a set of Bluetooth headsets these days. So you can have it connected to your cell phone and your desk phone. So if you press the answer button on your Bluetooth, you can answer and end calls right through your headset there.
Okay. And then the other thing with West Warren, is the signal non-existent? I don't know about, I have AT&T, so I don't know if it's completely gone, or is there some signal that could be boosted, or?
I'm not familiar with that West Warren area yet. I haven't gone out
Okay.
and driven anything yet. Jim, I think you said,
Yeah, there was, when we talked to some of the engineers on the team, some of their concerns was that the West Warren was kind of lower and not as high in elevation. The elevation for the repeaters needed to be like an additional 200 feet higher, and it's just not there. So our solution and what we were thinking of doing is obviously going with the other phone, the non-redundant phone, which is a little bit, it would save us a little bit in money and cost, and that phone would have to be just hardwired into the internet. So they would still have, it would be a slowly based internet phone over there in West Warren. So that would be for sewer and senior center.
Yeah.
now, one thing I just want to point out is with the T54, there is redundancy built into the system. The only difference is that doesn't have the cellular capability, but you still have redundancy built in with an iPad, your cell phone, a desktop. So there is redundancy built in if the building lost power and internet, say. Because it's hosted in the cloud, the phone system is still operating. Now, as long as you have the system configured the way you want it to, if it's in the middle of the day, your constituents, when they call in, my cell phone is still gonna ring and your constituents are never gonna know the difference.
So it'd be
So
the
the
same
senior
as this
cent-
building too then, if the power went out?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Okay.
So the senior center actually has Wi-Fi over there, right?
It does have Wi-Fi.
So they could probably make it redundant by connecting to their Wi-Fi.
Well, if the primary internet goes down, typically the Wi-Fi is going to go down with it. They usually run off the same connection.
Right.
But
You could have
just
your-
one other point, even if the senior center goes down and they don't have a backup in place, that might be 5 or 10 minutes, someone might need to get their cell phone out and turn it on or whatever the case may be. The calls are still going to ring in. The system it doesn't matter if the phone is online or offline. If there's an auto attendant, that auto attendant's still going to answer. It's still going to go to the phones, and if the phone's offline, then it's still going to go to their voicemail. So it's not like they're going to get a busy tone or a busy signal when they go to call in because the phone is offline. It's just the phone won't ring, but the system is still functioning in the background because, again, everything's in the cloud and all that call flow and ring structure is still there. It just can't ring that physical phone at that point in time until they either turn on the app or log in on the computer, whatever the case may be.
So with that said, so if that phone went down, but
Mhm.
they had it linked up, say, tethered to their cell phone,
Mhm.
and that went down, and then it started doing the hunt call there, so
Yeah.
their cell phone could be the next one that rings then.
Right.
It will ring.
So their cell phone would ring, and they'd still get the call,
If they have
Absolutely.
if they have signal. But
Yeah.
if,
Right.
depending on where they are, they most likely have signal.
Yeah,
now.
if they're at home and they have
Yeah.
Wi-Fi or anything, they'll ring their cell phone.
Okay.
You have the.
So it's still redundant because it's not just
Mhm.
the call is dead and it's lost.
No.
100%. No,
there's
the
something
system-
else coming in.
The system is still up and running in the background.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, your current scenarios, if they cut the copper line in the ground to the senior center, you know, they're digging up the road and they hit that line. At that point, that system's dead. It's either gonna get a recording saying, you know, system's down, or they get a busy signal because they can't get through. That doesn't happen with the system ever. It's almost impossible to get a busy signal with this system, because you just get so much more capabilities and call pathing and the ability to receive calls. Like the auto attendant can have 10,000 callers, and there's no limitation to the amount of callers that can be calling in at any given time through that auto attendant. And then each desk set has the ability to make and receive 3 concurrent calls at a time. So if you have 50 phones, that means, and then sometimes occurs, you can have up to 150 calls running at once, which you'll never be able to manage that, but it just gives you a lot more capabilities than you have now. Limitless. Some people love it, some people think it's a curse, but it is kind of the.
I think
the
if we
new
have
age of the
150
system,
calls
always
going at
being
one
able
time,
to-
there's something really going on.
Yeah. So,
All right.
and then the right call there, government customers. So this is what we have, what we've closed at here at Masters. This isn't nationwide on Verizon. This is just what we've partnered with Verizon. So as government customers across the country, we have over 2,000 government customers that we handle and manage here at Masters, with over 29,000 actual desk phones. And in the state of Massachusetts, we have little over 30 customers and just over 500 lines. We can get you some references if needed, like Randolph Police Department is the one who signed off, but we can get you in contact with if you do want to reach out to them. They've agreed to take calls from other state agencies to give a reference. And then if you need some others, we can always reach out to some others and get permission from them. Verizon itself, last I heard, they're at like almost 10 million lines or desk phones out there. So it's been out for about 10 years or so. So it's not new, it's not old, but they're constantly adding features and functions to the system. And that's the nice part about being a cloud-based system. As Verizon does any new features and functions, you automatically get those at no extra cost. So as they deploy new features, functions, the firmware on phones will be updated at no cost, and you get those additional changes as well. You can go to the next slide.
A quick question.
Yep.
How do we know those updates? Who's the point of contact?
So the phones themselves, they'll automatically get the firmware update, and then Verizon will actually send out notifications of new features and functions as they are deployed. So you'll get the main POC, the main point of contact for the town of Warren will get those emails.
Okay.
So this is kind of, and we must have sent over the wrong one by accident, because we have a redundant here. But there's a couple of phones. So you get the T53, which is your basic black and white. That was approved at no cost for you. Same with the T54, which is the color screen is on the other screen. There's a T57, which looks like the T67. It's color screen, touch screen, and it doesn't have the LTE, but those are available as well at $40. And then the T67, which were originally $299, are down to $99. So you get a really good discount on those. And then there is a cordless phone and a conference phone if needed. We included those in there because those sometimes are needed, but not always. But then you see this BIC column. That still stands for Billing Incentive Credit. So this is your purchase cost and the purchase cost there. And then after you activate service, so day 31, Verizon issues a $50 billing incentive credit for every single line of service. And that comes on the following bill. So, based on, I think, let's see, we're looking at about 40 phones. At 40 phones, you'd be getting about just over $2,000 bill credit back. So, if you went with a mixture of the T54s and 67s, you'd probably end up with virtually no upfront cost, depending on the mixture of them. Because you're going to get, basically the T54s are going to be zero upfront cost, but Verizon's going to give you $50 towards that anyway. So you're going to basically, Verizon's going to pay you $50 for every T54 that you purchase. And then it's $50 for every T57 after your rebates. Does that make sense? Any questions there? Okay. So you're getting a really good discount there. You're getting $3 a month per user off your monthly service, plus some really aggressive discounting on the phones. Next slide. So like we mentioned with support, we do unlimited lifetime support for you. You can call us, email us, whatever the case may be. We don't limit the number of times you can call us. We have a dedicated support email address, so when you send us an email to that address, you get back a ticket that's trackable. We have 8 to 8 on our hours Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays and Sundays we do have on-call support. And then PD, fire, we all know 24/7. If we're not available, you also have the Verizon 800 number for the business support team at the Verizon Wireless Help Desk. They're 24/7, 365 days a year. So if for some reason we're not available, you have the Verizon government support team to help you out as well. And then the self-service portal, obviously that's open all the time. You can always log in and make changes manually as needed. And we also give out these training cards, which helps out for new users. If you want to go to the next slide. So we send out these cards, which let your users know how to contact us, on how to contact us for support, and it gives them tips and tricks on how to do transfers, set up their voicemails. So this really helps out on new users. Obviously we do the training, but not everyone remembers everything they see on a 30, 40-minute training call. So, and if needed, there's a support link from Verizon for resources. And then, like again, they can call our support team and we can walk them through whatever they're having troubles with. If they need to program a speed dial or struggling with a certain function, they can call us and we'll help them one-on-one as needed. We can go to the next slide. So differentiators, we've pretty much gone through all these, but obviously that mobile app, like we talked about, is your built-in redundancy. The phones are really plug and play. So as soon as those phones see power and internet, they program themselves. There's nothing that your users or we have to do in order to get those up and running. Everything is controlled by the same web portal that you use for your cell phones. Free setup, lifetime support, all running through the #1 wireless network through Verizon. Again, no contract, no licensing, no maintenance, software update fees or costs, no PBX hardware or any other related hardware is needed inside your telephone room. So it's really just your $22 a month per user, and you do pay federal taxes on top of that. There's no extra fees. When you look at your landline bills, there's recovery fees, maintenance fees. Those are no longer billed to you. You can go to the next slide. And that's the presentation for you. Jim has a copy of the quote. We can share that if you'd like. But are there any other questions that we can answer for you?
I don't know. I think the only problem is maybe our internet speed out of the building, but then if we can just switch it to cell, then maybe that's not an issue anymore, really.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know.
We did have a municipality recently go all cellular with their entire network. Now again, it's dependent upon the strength of the signal inside the building, wherever the phone's gonna be located. The water department sounds like it's, wouldn't be an option right now. The other thing I would say is that we're making a very significant investment into our 5G network. So we're about 2 years into it. We probably have another 18 to 24 months to go to really build it out. As that happens, we're gonna be both strengthening and improving our 4G network in addition to adding 5G on. So 4G is not going away. It's got a long, runway ahead of it. So it's conceivable that in the future that, weak area where the water department is may pick up coverage once those upgrades are done. So I just kind of want to point that out.
So with the 5G network, will these phones still work if you went strictly 5G?
So these phones are 4G only.
So with that, because we're buying the phones, do we have the option to trade them in for an upgrade of the phone if we have to?
So under
Every year.
Yeah, under the state contract with Massachusetts, you have the ability to refresh your devices every 12 months. If at some point down the road, we have a 5G One Talk device, which One scenario I could see is if we wanted to add like a video component onto the desk phone for video calls.
Yeah.
That could be something that would require maybe a 5G ultra wideband connection.
Because I really value the time that I get to do my video calls with Jim.
Yeah.
And the other option, just, you know, even if you don't technically want to update the phones, once 5G is available, Verizon offers, and we also sell 5G cellular modems that will allow you to back up your entire network. So if your 4G, if your local connection, your cellular connection can pick up and be your secondary failover connection to the internet. When 5G comes out, that's definitely a good option. And we do that across the country currently, where 5G is currently available.
What do you think?
To me, the whole system looks pretty good. I just wish they could send a message to Verizon so we get better signal here.
We're working on it.
I don't know. AT&T does pretty good. So I know they're the competitor. I get pretty good signal with AT&T around here. So just Verizon stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
very,
tough.
especially in West Warren, I go.
Yeah, completely done. Do you have any questions?
No.
Did you have anything?
No?
Mrs. Dusty, do you have any questions about it?
I don't, thank you.
And just to mention one more thing, we are the only carrier who has this cellular-based desk phone. No other company's carrier has this feature, so.
Yeah, it's kind of really selling me, my opinion, because, again, I was not sold on the VoIP phones because there's no redundancy, and when the internet goes down, your phone system's down. And having the redundancy definitely changes the game with that. You're not worried so much. And then having the cloud, and your phone calls are gonna go through no matter what, with the cloud, so. I'm liking those features. You're definitely onto something here for the towns, because I think one of the big issues is being able to be dependable for your customers. And if you're not, and people are calling phone numbers trying to get a hold of a department, and they can't get a hold of a department because they keep on getting, call not able to connect. What was the wrong number? Do I gotta try a different number? What's wrong? Just sometimes the internet might go down for 2 minutes, and then it takes 15 minutes for the phone to reboot for a VoIP system. And then, if it goes down for hours, you're dead in the water, nothing gets done. So, anybody from the public? Chiefs, you guys have any questions about them?
No, we Adam Lavoy, Fire Chief, we did a demo of that exact phone that's sitting over there for a week or so at the station. It does have pretty decent features. Both police and fire have the same company that currently provides service to our phones. We've had some issues there, so I mean, they're pretty user-friendly. I don't think there'd be an issue switching them over to that. I do like the idea that they do run off the cellular program as well, in case the internet does go down, which has happened several times to us. So they're a pretty good quality phone, in my opinion.
And even if we don't have good cell phone signal, well, I guess having a mobile hotspot's not really gonna help, is it?
If you were in a weak signal area, probably not. Although I will say the performance of this particular T67 does have a little bit of an upgraded antenna. So it's possible that you may see better performance out of that device than, say, a regular cell phone.
It definitely has better signal, or stronger signal, because cell phones are regulated because you hold it to your head, so it can't put out, I think it's like 0.03 watts or something like that. But because this is not a handheld device that actually has a higher wattage or higher power rating, so it's able to receive and push a stronger wattage in the background to maintain that signal more than a cell phone would. So.
Yeah,
It's
like
interesting.
when we put that in each one of the offices, I kept it on Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and it worked just fine in every office.
Okay. So what are your thoughts? What do you guys think?
So I downloaded the app and tried to play with it, and I end up to the point where it's asking me for a phone number. Of course, each unit has a phone number. So for example, Mr. Ferreira, Mr. Dusty, or any other guy will need that phone number and has a device name, so who designs the device name? Is that's the way I name it, whatever I
Yeah.
want to?
Yeah.
That's whatever you name it.
Okay, and then, well, that's as far as I can go, because that's
From
not
that
good.
point, you would be prompted to enter a 6-digit PIN. The 6-digit PIN would be sent to the administrator of the one-top account. You dictate who that is. It can actually be sent to the end user too. And then you key that in and.
So that's the
live.
double factor authorization, the
Exactly.
PIN.
Yeah.
And then you enter you enter the number, you name that device,
Yep.
and,
Makes you confirm your E911 physical address as well,
Mhm.
because the app uses data. You gotta give it kind of a whereabouts from where you would be dialing that 911 call. So that's also part of it.
Actually, Mike, on the smartphones now, it uses the E911 chip.
oh, good, so.
If you're using a desktop computer or a tablet that doesn't have cellular connection, then it would prompt you for your physical address to use that 911.
So by doing this, downloading the app and connecting, for example, town administrator can be in any other place doing in a meeting or anything, and when somebody calls and hits the extension for the town administrator, his cell phone number is gonna come. And at the same thing, he can listen to his messages and call,
Mhm.
not using his personal phone number, but he will use the app, so it goes as if he was here in the
Town
building.
Warren, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
The office phone number.
And if you do get a missed call, you actually get an email too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and so when they do a voicemail message, it sends you that audio file you can listen to on your computer or on your, through the app.
That'd be really handy too.
It supports 2 different email addresses per 10-digit number, so you can send it to your personal and work if you want, whatever makes most sense.
Yeah, if you plan on working from home one day and you can't come in because you're sick or the snowstorm, you could actually make and receive calls on your cell phone as if you're in the office. So you have that capability of convenience.
Does it count against the person's data?
Everything's unlimited.
So that goes on this
sorry,
network.
Sorry.
There's 2
Because if you
different
use a
ways on the
person-
app.
It will go in your data, yeah.
So it goes on your own personal data.
If it's
Yeah.
a personal device, yes, it would use some data for that call.
It's very limited. 1 hour of calling equals about 30 megabits of data, and there's 1,000 megabits per gigabit. But there's also what they now call call-through mode, which actually directs the calls instead of going over the data connection to use the voice network, which usually is what I recommend because the voice network is the highest priority on the Verizon network or any network, and that would just use your unlimited calling, so you don't have to use your data.
Well, it's nice, the email notification and all that, because that, you can take away the, I call you, and says, no, you did not, you have a
This
proof.
just means we can get a hold of Jim anywhere now.
Yeah, I call you, you got my email.
I know you got the email. I left 37 of them.
It's fully customizable. Whatever you'd like it to do, we can customize it to make it work however you'd like it to. So this is a good opportunity to kind of like, you don't have to duplicate exactly what you have now. You may want to maybe improve it in a certain flow of calls. So it's a good time to really think about how you want the calls to go and come and everything.
So administration and setup of the system is all through a web page? Is that how, okay, so you just go to a site, log in, set up the phone, set up groups, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, and we take care of all of that for you,
okay.
We would.
but you do have access to it.
There's a whiteboarding session that would need to happen to map out how the calls flow and, business hours, after hours, things like that. But that's really where Masters comes in, and we would recommend that you have them do the initial configuration.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with that, they were talking about like a group message. You could send out a group message. So like the fire department, the chief wants to send out a message to all his firefighters. He can do a group message to all his firefighters type thing?
there's text messaging. I don't know about the group messaging. So again, from your one talk number that's on your, say, cellular device, your iPhone, you do have the ability to do messaging from that number, separate from your regular, other number that would be on the device. But Chad, the group messaging,
How many destinations?
I mean, you can do group texting, but it's not like, it's not designed for like a group, large group messaging. It's more for individual messaging. I don't know, it might be something that maybe EMAC
Yeah.
that was discussed.
We have another product that's supported on the state contract called Enterprise Messaging Access Gateway, where you could send out a group message from one destination to users on Verizon or other carriers. It's enhanced, so we have service level agreements into T-Mobile and AT&T. So that's when you absolutely have to have that message delivered, right?
It's like a reverse 911 system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and with the state contract, and there's no cost for EMAG, so that'll be maybe a separate discussion, but we can absolutely.
So it doesn't cost anything for us?
No. No.
There you go.
Yeah, just need to understand how it is that you're sending your message today.
I mean, we have a system already in place through Rutland that I can send the guys, the crew a message anytime, that they'll go to all the different groups. So, I mean, we may not, I mean, we have that functionality right now through a network that exists, so.
Some people who have Verizon Wireless have used the vtex.com domain for years and years. It's more of kind of a consumer version of a way of sending messages to email destinations. That's kind of going away, but if you ever wanted to have that discussion, happy to have it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was thinking like maybe like for town employees too. I know there's discussion about closing buildings and stuff for the day. Instead of having a call chain where we're calling each person and stuff, we could send out a message.
I
Hey,
just send
town offices
everybody
are
a
closed
text.
today. Huh?
I just send everybody a text. I have
Yeah.
them all set up, and I just,
What if
Not
some-
everybody is as efficient as you.
What if somebody new comes in? You have to add a phone number. What if somebody
That's
goes
the
away?
beauty of the
That's a
system,
different
is there's no
story.
contract.
We'll talk about it,
They
that's a
can-
different topic.
Yeah.
You can add or remove as needed at any time. So if you hire someone new, need a new phone, all you do is reach out and let us know. We'll get another one set up for you. Or if someone leaves, we can remove their name and change it to a new user.
Remove the app on a smartphone if they were to take the smartphone with them.
Yeah.
So you have that control through the portal as well. So.
Oh, to like, okay, so employee
Yeah.
leaves, you can shut off their
Maybe they have
access.
their personal phone and the app
Yeah.
running on it, you have the ability to disconnect that device.
Okay,
So, and then just repurpose the number to the new employee.
right.
Yeah,
This way they're not still receiving calls.
yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Mhm.
And the nice part about the app is all the information is encompassed in the app. It doesn't reside on their phone. So if it is on their personal phone, when you remove that registration from the app, all the information disappears. All the call history, all the text messaging, voicemails, they no longer have access to it. So nothing leaves the application. It's all secured inside the app. So they don't get any of the information once they leave and the app's gone. There's no residual information left behind.
Okay.
Is there a way for public records, reasons that you can save voicemails in like a separate area, say?
So I have a customer who wants to do that. So like Mike said, you can send that voicemail to email to two separate emails. The primary one goes to the employee, and then the other agency I work with, they set up emails at their domain, and we put that as a secondary email address for every single person, so that all voicemails go to that depository of that email address, and they're there as long as you want to retain it.
Okay.
Yeah, because technically, any voicemails or anything like that can be requested.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's easier if they're all text then too, because then you can do a search if you're looking for certain ones.
Yeah.
You can search through them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions?
No?
Oh, sir?
So I'm impressed with the system. I think this is the solution for us,
Yeah,
because we gotta make a change,
yeah.
and it's redundant. meets all the requirements for the departments. It's definitely a step above,
Mhm.
and it's no more than what we're already spending. A little more, but we're also getting a whole new upgraded system.
Yeah,
So,
More capability.
which we would have had to pay for anyways.
yeah.
And right now, we can't get new phones or anything else because they break, they're gone.
Mhm.
Here, we can potentially upgrade our phones every year and get new phones.
Or we can buy a new phone.
There's also a one-year manufacturer's warranty on all the devices for the first year, so that covers you for the first 12 months. After that, if something happened, you know, a phone just, you know, was a manufacturer's defect, you'd be able to upgrade at the upgrade price of whatever is on the state contract.
Okay.
But the failure rate of the desktop phones is very low.
Mhm.
Oh, brand new phones.
Yeah.
I don't want them to fail. Chiefs, do you guys have anything else? What are your thoughts?
Like I said, we demoed the phone. I thought it was good for us. We dropped it off at the PD after that. I don't think they had any issues with
I
it.
don't have any issues with it, and right now, we don't have any, we lose internet all the time, we lose the phones totally, so it's good to have a backup.
Yeah, we can't have you losing phones. Anybody else have any questions, in public? Right? I mean, you look like you're thinking back there. No?
Minimal change in cost.
Yeah. What's it, I think it's like $100 difference or something like that?
Yeah, it was.
In the bill?
I think it was somewhere around $70.
Mhm.
We pay $70 more for the month. Yeah, it's brand new phones and we gotta do something, you know?
Mhm.
So FinCom, well, one member of FinCom's on board. Unfortunately, we didn't make a motion, we didn't put it in for a vote today.
Okay.
Did it get posted for a vote?
No, it's not posted for a vote. Next week, what we were going to potentially do is, I think there's gonna be a surplus in some, in one of the ARPA lines, that we didn't have to use for one of the projects. So, we're gonna identify that to make sure that's the case, and next week, if the board wants to have this on the agenda, we could potentially have it on for the, the upfront cost,
Mhm.
have it paid through ARPA, and then, roll out
Just
the
get the
program.
phones and roll it out?
Yeah.
Mm.
Alright. So, we're gonna have to wait till next week to make it official, but
Mhm.
I'm sold.
Yeah,
You want it on the next agenda?
Sure.
You guys wanna vote on this next week?
Yeah.
yeah.
Think you're gonna
Got
have
it.
a sale, so, I think you've convinced us, it's definitely an option for us. Much better than what we have now, and the chiefs seem satisfied with it, and all the employees in the town hall that used it liked it. Nobody really had any issues other than
No.
a little bit of issue in West Warren.
West Warren. So the next step, I will have to work with Chad, and we're gonna have to, give him all of the, the numbers and, kind of make a map, which we don't have right now,
Right.
of all of the desktop devices. There's some devices, like the highway, would like to have that, that wireless, the cordless phone. So we're gonna work with them on getting some cordless options. They don't need the T67 in the shop, so that they can get like one of the less expensive versions. The T67 could be on a desktop on one of the office phones, and then they would have a cordless phone in there as
Just
well.
work with the departments, see what they need.
Yeah.
I would like as many departments, the main departments at least,
That one.
have in with the cellular connection,
Yeah.
because they're the ones we need to make sure that it's still functioning if anything happens.
So that's gonna take some time to map that all out and to work with Chad and to make sure that we have everything right, and, obviously bring in all the departments to have them, make sure that's how they want the call flow.
Okay, so 8 AM tomorrow?
Available.
All right, so let's put it on the agenda for next week.
Got
And
it.
identify ARPA funds that we have available.
Yeah.
And we'll purchase the phones and make it official next week and get an upgrade going on here.
Got it. I'm excited.
We're excited to be working with you on the project.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
time.
Did you have anything else for us?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. Contract, the support, sort of the upfront process. So we'll have more conversations as we move forward.
Very good, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for the help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Look forward to working with you. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, discussion with Quabog Regional School District Superintendent Duff on the proposed amendments to the regional agreement and the FY '25 district budget. Anticipated vote.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a motion to put me third on the agenda so that Chief Boy could go before me?
Yeah.
If we could just take number 4 out of order, that'd be great, because these gentlemen have other.
Absolutely,
if you
we can
wouldn't
do
mind.
that.
Thank you very
We
much.
want to extend Mr. Duff the opportunity because we know they were waiting and you're next in line, so we could actually do that. So we'll just move to item number 4. You guys good with that?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. Discussion and appointment of firefighters Sean Boulette and Andrew Giza as traffic constables. Anticipated vote.
So,
Chief,
This is the new.
you're stealing from the fire department.
Exactly, so, you know, it's difficult to get police officers and never mind shifts, we have the details in town we have to cover. So one of the ideas that I posed in front of you guys was the traffic constables, which we passed. And we opened it up to our firemen first because they're here, they're our employees, they should have the first bite at the apple. So we had 2 that were interested and we're bringing them in front of you today to appoint them to be the first 2 for the traffic constables.
Very good, very good. Start the program, right?
Yeah, exactly, get them out there.
Awesome.
I don't know if you guys wanna come up so we can. Sean's one of our full-time firefighters. Andrew's one of our on-calls.
How you guys doing? You think this is a good opportunity for you guys? Get some detail money on the side?
Yep, and to help out with the town and help them with their staffing.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're short-staffed. You guys are short-staffed. Everybody's short-staffed. We're gonna have to help each other. Eventually put duty belts on the
Right.
firefighters and give respirators to police officers, right? No?
We'll just get cars like Adam.
It's a beautiful truck. Have you let anybody else drive that thing
Oh,
yet?
yeah, it is what it is.
You let me
It's
sit in it
nice 'cause-
Really?
It's nice because it's actually, it's heavy duty enough to tow the trailers, and, you know, that was kind of the main reason why we upgraded to the Tahoe, so.
Uh-huh, sure. Well, very good. Do you guys have anything for us? No? Well, very good. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't? No.
Very happy.
Yeah, no, thank you for stepping up and helping out. Small towns, we gotta make do wherever we can. And, you know, this put some extra cash in you guys' pockets too, and, you know, helping out the chief here with some of his needs, so definitely a big help. Thank you.
Rather go outside to other departments, we can go to our guys first.
Absolutely. Take care of our people first, so.
So, it's for an indefinite term?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that right?
They're 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't what you said on the paper. You didn't say a time, so I figured it was indefinite.
Well, we can vote.
Yeah,
sign
that's the
them.
policy was 1
The
year.
policy is, I
Yeah.
think, said 1 year.
Okay, so I'm gonna just,
Perfect.
We can just have her change those real quick. We can sign those before we leave. Should be a quick meeting. You good? You have any questions?
no.
You have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint Sean Boulette and Andrew Giza as traffic constables for a 1-year term.
Second.
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Gentlemen, you're appointed as traffic constables for the town of Warren. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night, okay?
If something happens, they can help.
Absolutely. Isn't it? All right. Now, back to Mr. Duff. Back to item 2, discussion with Quabog Regional School District Superintendent Duff on the proposed amendments to the regional agreement and the FY '25 district budget. Anticipated vote.
Well, thank you for
Sir,
having me
how you
back.
doing?
Great, thank you very much.
It's always good to have you back
Oh,
in.
is that nice? Okay. Steve Duff, Superintendent of Schools, Quabog Regional School District, resident of Warren.
Yes.
So I'll give you an update on Quabog. That's usually how we always start, and then we'll go from there. On next Friday, we have a first responder luncheon, and the Board of Selectmen, anybody from the committees that would like to attend would be more than welcome to. Country Bank has partnered with Quabog to recognize our first responders, our police, fire, from both Warren and West Brookfield. So next Friday from 11:30 to 12:30, all the departments are invited to that. We recognize the efforts that Chief Millette, Chief LaVoy, Chief Haglund, and Chief Lapierre have put in, both at the school level and on the safety team. So to you guys, thank you very much for your continued support. It's a small token of our appreciation for all that you do.
Could you send out an email to us to make sure?
Sure, I'll
that-
send you an email tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
I just like.
Ready to respond.
Jeremy Olson, I just want to give him a shout out. He was on the phone with me this morning at 4 o'clock. He's been readily available to me when it comes time to make tough decisions around schools. His input is invaluable, as is Chief Millette and the fire chief and police chief and Adam from the other towns. We communicate on a regular basis. The conversations start yesterday and they end at 4 in the morning. So Jeremy has done a great job keeping me informed of how the roads are, and I think our communication has been spot on. I think we've done a pretty good job handling those situations. So thank you to Jeremy. Our 8th grade, we just got back from Washington DC. We went to Washington DC for 4 days. 8th graders go down, they tour the Capitol, they see a lot of the Smithsonian's, we do a lot of the walking memorials. It's a great trip for kids that typically don't get out of the state of Massachusetts all the time, so to go to Warren, to go from Warren or West Brookfield to DC is a big trip for the kids, and they were outstanding. Every time we go, they talk about how impressed they are with our students' behaviors and the knowledge that they have going down there. They always say that we're one of the best groups, and I say that about our kids all the time. We're lucky we have the best kids around. On Earth Day, I saw it on your agenda later, but we're working with Marlene Fortin on the Earth Day project on April 20th. Students from the elementary buildings, middle and high school are gonna help out with that community cleanup. I know we're meeting at Warren Community Elementary School at 9 o'clock. Mr. Guimond and Principal Hanfeld have been very instrumental in working with Marlene on that, so that's just one way that we're gonna continue to work with the community. I'd like to thank the Finance Committee for allowing me to attend their finance meeting last month to talk a little bit about the school budget and answer any questions that they had. I think that that level of communication is certainly making things a little more cohesive between the school and the towns. So thank you for allowing me to attend that, Ray. That was great. We are doing a pop-up restaurant like we did with the play that we did for the Addams Family. There'll be a pop-up restaurant for any residents within Warren. At the high school, there'll be an email that gets sent out. We place it in both senior centers in Warren and in West Brookfield for a free meal. It's part of our 21st Century After School program. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education sponsor that. But what we have to do is we prepare meals, and then people come in and we get rated on how our kids prepare the meals. So it's a great opportunity for the kids to get involved with that. I can tell you that we've been working diligently with Chief LaVoy back there on our EMT program for next year. We've identified 2 potential instructors for that class. We're working with Holyoke Community College and potentially Becker College. We identified that EMTs are in need with not only within our state, but more importantly within our towns. So actually Adam, I, and Eric Urban have a meeting tomorrow to discuss what the next steps are. So we're trying to get that up and going. We had 14 students in the CNA class this year. We're 100% pass rate for both the skills test and for the written test. We are the only district that has had 100% passing rate. So we are now introducing 14 certified nurse assistants into our community, which is another area that's in great demand, as is a lot of other areas, but that's the first time we've had 100% pass rate, which is outstanding. Finance Committee, Jeremy, responders. QRMHS lighting update. We started the project. We talked about that with part of the budget with how we're trying to be efficient with our energy and to help offset the cost of local assessments. They're gonna complete phase one at Quabog, hopefully within the next week, which will be all of the interior lights will be switched to LED. Phase two will come right after that, which hopefully will only take them a week or two to do. And then they're gonna move over to Warren Community Elementary School, and they're gonna do the lighting upgrade there. So all of those upgrades will be done, which will help offset the cost of our local assessments. So those projects have been going well. We've been in contact with Bill Cantel, who is the new building inspector for the town of Warren. We did get a $100,000 earmark for a concession stand down by the field at Quabog. We've been waiting, it's been in process, trying to get all of the information together. And with Bill in place, I think it's gonna move a lot more quickly now.
Oh, good.
So we have some plans that we're having engineered. We'll present those to Bill Cantel. Then we'll be able to provide a concession stand on the backside of the field, which is gonna be great, where hopefully we can have some running bathrooms and things like that, because it's difficult when you're at a game and there's porta potties, which really aren't all that efficient. So we're hoping to have that project started this summer, which would be outstanding.
Quick question before you move on with that.
Yep.
Bill's been talking with you and going back and forth and responding back to you?
Bill has been talking with Mark Estrella, the facilities
Okay, but
director.
there's communication going back
Yeah,
and
they
forth.
have
Okay.
communicated, which
All right.
has been very helpful.
Just wanna make sure you guys have that communication and it's happening.
Yep, so Mark did reach out to him and was able to talk to him via phone, and Bill was able to let us know what steps we needed to move forward,
Okay.
which is very helpful. We have been waiting for that for a while. But we do have, that $100,000 earmark is not a cost to the town. It's not a cost to the school district. It's an earmark from the state that these funds are earmarked to the school district for this purpose, which at the end of the day helps the community. We did receive another accelerated grant for $32,500 for FY '25. I spoke about it. We ran a math academy over February vacation. We're running a math academy over April vacation, but that allows us to run those two academies again next year. So that's for FY '25. The last grant that we got is we just got a $75,000 grant for computer science. That's gonna allow us to upgrade some of our hardware within, that the students are using for computer science and for personal finance. So once again, it's helping to offset the cost of buying equipment. $75,000 goes a long way. So Madeline Smola has done a terrific job with that. So I think those are my updates for what's been going on. It's been busy.
Yeah, you've done a lot done.
Yeah, I know, and we're continuing to evolve, which is outstanding. We continue to look for opportunities to save money, and we continue those partnerships with the people that we're working with to help in those areas.
I'm really impressed with the outreach for identifying career fields that really need help like EMTs, and being able to train somebody right out of school at no extra cost. And because they don't have to pay, right? So they get trained as an EMT, they come out of the field and they can work whatever community they decide to do and have a paying job right out of high school that pays fairly well. And it really helps the community. Because I know everybody wants to be a computer engineer and, I'll make, programs for video games. But how many of those do we really need? What we really need is people that are going into these fields and helping, like nurses and EMTs and firefighters and people like that, to keep these communities running and keep them safe. And having that, definitely an asset. Thank you very much for working with the chief to get that stuff going, because that's really important. I don't think that schools are focusing enough on real career goals, real careers for kids. Everybody wants to be a doctor or a veterinarian, but you got to start somewhere before you go there. And these are the fields that get you going into something bigger and better later on in life. And it puts money in your bank account while you're doing it. So I think it's great. Do you have anything?
Well, I was gonna say, there are kids who aren't ready to go to a four-year university. Either they don't want to, maybe they can't afford it, and they need something else.
Well, it's not like college
So-
is getting any cheaper either.
Yeah.
It's getting really
So-
expensive.
Trades, Pathfinder, and these kind of opportunities at Quabog are what kids need.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta give them a chance to do something. And, you know, if they're not on one track, what other tracks can they go on? So,
You're giving them tracks.
yep.
Yeah,
You
we
give
do
them a
have
track to go.
We do have a career coach, which is a grant-funded position that works under Mrs. Smola. And that career coach looks at internships. We work with River East, and they have the hot list of what jobs are in demand. And they'll actually do paid internships for our students. So we have students that are going to different facilities after school that may not be college-bound or may not know they'll be college-bound until they figure out what their career path is. So we have students that are involved in that program as well, so that they have something the worst thing is if you get a kid who graduates high school and has no idea what they're gonna do, and they're stuck. So we're working really hard to make sure that kids have opportunities.
Well, even if they are college bound, at least they get a career
Yep.
that they can work and help. Because colleges are getting very expensive, and unless you get a scholarship, and your parents gotta pay, pay that tuition, it's a lot of money. Now there's 4 colleges in Massachusetts that are over $90,000 a year. That's more than some people are bringing home for a total salary. And you're gonna pay that for your kid to go to school for 1 year?
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot of those
that's,
schools are 5-year programs.
yeah, and
Looking
that's,
at $500,000.
that's a lot of money.
Yep.
And if the kid has to do that and get loans and stuff on $90,000, you're looking at that, interest and everything else, it adds up.
It's a mortgage
So-
payment.
Yeah, you're paying for a house.
Yep.
So having careers like that where you could be taking home, $20, $30 an hour, doing public safety or working, whatever, you're at least putting money in your pocket, buying books, buying this, whatever. It helps.
So, like in the CNA program, can you set up internships or a co-op, or is that are those hurdles that you have to go through like with the state, or can you do it on your own kind of?
Well, we're one of and we were talking the other day, we're one of the closest CNA testing sites. We're certified to have as a testing site, and those are far and few between. So as soon as the kids test, they're eligible to go out and work. And there's such a shortage of CNAs
Yeah.
that they can, they might start as a PCA and then turn into a CNA.
Yeah.
We have internships with Bay State Hospital. Michelle Holmgren, who's a resident of Warren, has been instrumental in having us work with Bay State Hospital, whether it's at Wing or whether having students go out to Springfield, not just in the medical field, but we get students into the billing, into the office work over there. So we look for those opportunities within the community, and we have some really good, strong partnerships so that we're able to place our students in areas where they're making, $18 an hour and getting the experience they need, which typically leads itself to employment, which is awesome for the kids.
Yeah, my son goes to Pathfinder, and he's in a co-op right now,
Yep.
in auto. So he's over at a dealership working every other week, and he loves it. And it's really great.
It's good for
So
kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's gonna come out, he'll have a job if he wants to stay there, he's had all that experience already.
Yep.
It's really awesome.
It's good stuff. So that's where we're at for our updates. We did just with the CNA start the EKG and phlebotomy classes through Holyoke Community College. So they get their CNA certification, and if they pass those 2 classes, then they get emergency room tech certifications, which is a huge certification to have. I know that probably Adam knows more about that than a lot of us in here, because we know what emergency room techs do. But our kids have the opportunity to become certified in that area as well, which is great.
Right out of high school too. That's
Mhm.
impressive.
Yeah.
Because you always hear kids like, oh, I gotta spend all this money to go I don't even, is Becker College even around
Nope.
anymore? But they used to be, everybody used to want to go to Becker for the nursing program and spend all that money to just get the basics,
Yeah.
Awesome, Steve, and kudos for you and everybody who stands behind you, your team, everybody. It's a wonderful job.
I just want to take the opportunity to, maybe you can, I know you already sent a message, but what's going to happen on Monday for the eclipse will be a good time to share here.
Sure.
So everybody knows.
So for the eclipse on Monday, it's been a big chatter on the superintendent's hotline because the eclipse is probably going to happen during elementary school dismissal time. They're saying anywhere between like 2:30 and 4:15. They'll narrow in on that a little bit more, but we're guessing more around 3:15. We did send an email out to all the families, particularly the elementary families, allowing parents the opportunity to dismiss their children early. It's going to be difficult for us to supervise 600 students at dismissal time. And the first thing that you say to an elementary student is, don't look up at the sun. The first thing they're going to do is look up at the sun. So the opportunity is there. It doesn't count against attendance, but it's a good opportunity for families to experience the eclipse with them. We did send out some information on where they could purchase verified glasses, because if you go on the internet, you can probably find some really cheap glasses that they'll say that they're verified, but they're not. So we did some information out to families on that as well. But our goal is to make sure that we provide a high level of safety for our students and give families the opportunity to experience this together without it jeopardizing, any school lost time or things like that. So that information has been sent out to both elementary schools in Warren and in West Brookfield. Our practice times will be inside until 4:30, and then for our spring sports, and then anything after 4:30 practice can be outside. So we've taken a lot of measures in place to make sure that our students can experience it safely.
Steve, don't we have a game in Worcester?
It'll be after 4:30. Those have all been changed.
I just want you to share it here so everybody
Yeah.
can know about it.
Yep, so all those changes have been made for those accommodations.
What I wanted to Steve to say is that our team is going to play against Ware.
Oh, you wanted me to talk about,
Yes.
That's a different day, that's May 8th, not April 8th.
Okay.
So we are playing against Ware Public Schools at the Woo Sox in Worcester. So we are playing on their field on May 8th at 3:30, which is going to be a great opportunity for our kids to experience minor Major League Baseball field in a stadium. So I'm encouraging as many folks from the community to go as possible.
It's on Monday, right?
It's Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So that's going to be a great experience for our kids.
Very good.
Yep.
That's awesome. Did you have anything else?
No, Monday, May 8th?
No, it's not a Monday. April 8th is a Monday. What's May 8th?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that information is out online.
About planning board. Very good. Did you have anything else?
No.
I'm good, sir.
So regional agreement?
Yep.
Okay, so as you know, we've been working on a regional agreement. So what happened was a couple of years ago, North Brookfield was looking to regionalize with a district, and Mars, which is the regional, it's a regional study. We received a grant for $125,000 to do a feasibility study of bringing North Brookfield into our district. The benefit of bringing North Brookfield into our district, right now for school choice, we get roughly $5,000 per student. So say that I'm not saying these are the numbers, I'm just gonna use round numbers. If I had 100 students from North Brookfield and I multiply that by 5,000, that's how much money we would have. When you regionalize, what the state does is they are no longer considered school choice students, they're considered part of your foundation enrollment. Your foundation enrollment is how much money you receive from the state based upon your actual enrollment. So that is roughly around $14,000 per student. So we would see an increase on, instead of getting $5,000 per student, we would get $14,000 per student. So you take that difference, which is about 9,000, you multiply that by 100, then you're getting a significant amount of money back that we're not getting by doing school choice. Right now, the school choice funding, when it comes in, we use that to help offset the operational cost and local assessments. We would get a greater amount of foundation money because North Brookfield would be part of our region. So financially, the benefit for Quabog would be that you're gonna pick up $9,000 per student that you have from North Brookfield, comes out to be about $720,000 that you would receive in additional income, plus you get an additional $5,000 per student. They call it bonus aid. For the first 5 years, it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you get extra money for regionalizing. The reason that they do that is what we're hoping to do is offset the cost to the local assessments, and that's what DESI would like to see happen, so that towns like Warren and West Brookfield and North Brookfield, their assessments would come down. North Brookfield would benefit from this because right now they're a municipality, they're not a regional district. So when we get reimbursed at 85–90% of our transportation, North Brookfield has to pay 100% of their transportation, and there's no reimbursement to it. So if they have $1 million transportation, right now the town has to pay that $1 million. If they were to regionalize and say, I'll just say 80% because it's a nice, easy round number, if it was $1 million transportation bill, the town would get the $800,000 reimbursement from the state, from the regional transportation reimbursement. So for North Brookfield, the benefit to them regionalizing with Quabog is, one, they're gonna get their transportation reimbursement. Two, the enrollment at North Brookfield High School is very low. From what I understand, there's a math teacher for grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. It's one teacher. You have an English teacher for grades 9, 10, 11, 12. So you have the same teacher for all 4 years. Right now, the senior class, I think, has 23 students in it, and then it decreases significantly from there. That's all on DESI's website. So North Brookfield's enrollment at the middle and high school level is decreasing significantly. So students don't have the same opportunities that they have, say, at Quabog, where we'll have 100 kids in each grade level versus 23, or I think last year they graduated 13 kids in their senior class. So for them, the opportunities are both financial in terms of having transportation reimbursement, but also, like we talk about all the time, is giving kids opportunities. I think the opportunities aren't as good at North Brookfield right now because the enrollment is so low. So the study was done by retired superintendents, people that work for the regional committee. And it was comprised of school committees from both districts, from parents from both districts, and from a Board of Selectmen member from each of the towns. So that is what comprised the committee. So what the committee had to do is they needed to make a determination of whether they thought regionalization, moving forward with a regional agreement, to see if the towns would support that, or if even the school committees would support that. It was their goal and their task to move forward with that. So what has to happen is you have to redo the entire regional agreement, which took a long time to do. It has not been approved by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education yet. It's gone back and forth, back and forth. After every meeting that we have with the Regional Agreement Committee, you have to take a vote whether this is the way that you want the regional agreement to look. At our last meeting, we voted yes, this looks like the way that we want it. We sent it to DESI. DESI just sent it back to us with revisions that need to be made. Some of the revisions are things like, if you have a capital cost that you've already incurred, then that capital cost stays with the town. So for example, I'll look at North Brookfield. North Brookfield just put a roof on their elementary school. One of the issues that we're gonna run into, and this is things that we're looking at, whether regionalizing is the right thing to do or not, with North Brookfield putting a roof on their elementary building, it was through the MSBA, and they got a significant amount paid for that roof through the MSBA. I think they have probably between 8 and 10 years left until they're finished paying that roof off. If North Brookfield Elementary School was to close, then the town would be on the hook to pay back all of that money from the MSBA. So it's not feasible to close North Brookfield Elementary School. So there's a lot of factors that still need to be put into place. The next steps with it are to get it back from the department, get the regional agreement that was voted upon in the Regional Agreement Committee. We'll get that back from DESI. If there's any more changes that need to be made to the regional agreement by law, we'll make those changes. If there's no changes that need to be made, the next step is it goes to the school committees. And then each school committee, both at Quabog and at North Brookfield, need to vote on whether they want to move forward with the looking at regionalizing or not. If one committee votes yes and one committee votes no, then it's a no-go. If both committees vote yes, then the next step would be that it would have to go in front of the towns, the residents of the towns, and the residents of the towns would have to vote, both towns, all three towns actually, because West Brookfield, all three towns would have to vote in favor of regionalizing. So that's where we're at with that. It's been a long process. It's been 2.5 years of meetings, but that's where we're at right now. We're not even at a point where the school committee can vote on it until we have an approved regional agreement through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Okay. So with that said, if the town, well, the school district is getting $14,000 per student, okay? But then we also take on the responsibility of maintaining North Brookfield School with that money.
The other buildings, right?
So we're putting money back into their buildings, so we're not actually making $14,000 because we're also taking on the responsibility to maintain their teachers, their staff, their buildings.
So
So we're not actually making $14,000 out of that.
So what I would say to that is, we're not taking on the entire liability of North Brookfield. It's like the regional agreement is now. It's spread out amongst the three towns. We'll start
Right.
there. The second part about it is when you merge with different schools, there will be, it's just, I'm gonna be very factual about it, there'll be a reduction of staff. So there aren't gonna be as many teachers. You're not taking both sets of teachers and putting them together. There's steps that have to happen, but the number of teachers is based upon the enrollment. There would be too many teachers and too many staff, so you'd have to reduce some of that. So there are many factors that go into that. Outside,
Teachers in Warren and West Brookfield wouldn't be losing their jobs.
it-
Teachers in North Brookfield would be losing their jobs.
that would come down to what the regional agreement states.
So there's a
That's more-
chance that our teachers could be losing their jobs
Yeah, I would say that that's a possibility.
by doing that.
It's a possibility. The flip side of that is, and this is where it gets a little more complicated, and this is why we have a regional committee that studies this. The findings warrant, it's hard to understand what the actual cost savings would be until you go out to bid on transportation, because now you're looking at transportation across three towns.
You're adding to it.
You're adding to it, so it wouldn't be, right now, we have a two-tiered system. We have a high school and a high school, middle school tier, and we have an elementary tier. To do that, you're looking at different tiers, and that's the information that we need to find out before we can actually, I would say, actually have a vote on whether this is financially, if it's a good financial move for us. Originally, I think if you could look at potentially closing the school, then that could be a financial savings.
Closing their elementary,
If you could look at, if you could look at closing the school, you would.
but now that's not even an option.
Right now, it's not an option. So financially, I think that the school committees will have a decision to make
It's not an option because they got the grant for the roof.
through the MSBA.
Yeah, and they couldn't afford.
Right, you
to-
can't,
to
yeah.
shove it.
No, you can't, you know.
Could there be a plan where you keep it for a while and then get rid of it, but that is kind of crazy, I guess, right?
So all these points have been very well debated. You know, I share what information I can share, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have all the answers to that just yet. Once we get the regional agreement back from DESI, what DESI is gonna do is they're gonna stamp the approval that if you wanna vote on this regional agreement, then the school committees can vote on it. But we're not at the point that the school committees can even vote on the regional agreement until the language in it is, has been approved by DESI. So I think we're probably another couple months away before we even get the approval from DESI. And then I think that we can have a much more serious conversation about what the numbers would look like.
So what are you looking at for a time frame to put this in front of the towns?
I would say and once again, I'm only speculating. I'm saying the earliest this could happen would be in the fall at a special meeting. There's no way, I don't think there's any way we can get this in front of the towns in June. I just don't, I don't think there's enough time. And I don't even know if the fall's feasible. I don't wanna tell you it's
Probably,
feasible.
yeah.
I just don't
Next
know if
year.
yeah, and it could be in the spring of next year. I don't wanna give a date because it wouldn't be fair of me to give you a date when I'm not confident of what a date would be. It's been a process.
Because I could tell you some of the language we were looking at, some of the regional agreement, we're not really in agreement with as far as the town, because I think more authority should be given within the towns and less with the with the school, because it's town decisions that are being made that affect the community. And I understand the school district doesn't like the town to be doing that, but it's also the towns that are being affected the most
Right.
by these decisions. And as taxpayers, residents should have more of a choice in what's going on. And I know it's difficult because you got different towns, and adding a third town into that, where we don't even know it's gonna be profitable for our community. Because honestly, if it taken on a third town and it's a debt to us and now it's costing us money, we're not a charity. You know, I feel bad for the kids, but we have to take care of our own. We have a hard enough surviving on our own. And if we're spreading ourselves so thin to other communities, we're not doing our own residents justice.
Right.
And we didn't get North Brookfield in that situation. That's North Brookfield. And if we're taking on a school system, not just one school building, but now 2 school buildings that have to remain open, I don't see how that's going to be profitable.
Right.
For the towns.
So I just want to be very clear about this. The reason we entered the regional agreement was to look at ways to offset the cost of the assessments. This isn't doing anybody a favor. The reason we did a regional study was to see if this would be beneficial for the towns of Warren and West Brookfield. That's our number one priority.
With your research,
I don't have.
is it beneficial to Warren or West Brookfield?
I can't tell you that I have a definitive answer on that. I can't tell you yes or no, but what I want to be clear about is, number one, I agree with you 100% that the taxpayers are the ones that should make the decision regarding what happens at school. It's not a difference of whether the school and the towns, it's the people that get to make those decisions. Right. That's the first thing. The second thing is the only reason that we would ever look at regionalizing was for a way to offset our local assessments. This had nothing to do with anybody doing anybody a favor. The only thing that we're trying to do is help offset the assessments. This isn't, we would never bring this on if it was gonna be additional debt to the towns. We're looking for ways to help the towns financially support what's going on.
And that's what we wanna see.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose behind
We just don't
this.
wanna be like, okay, we think North Brookfield's a great town, they're a good community, but it's not a charity here.
Nope, I
You know,
agree 100%.
we have to be able to take care of our own town, and if our residents are getting taxed more to help another town, that's not fair to our residents.
Right.
You know, if it comes out and we're all profiting and we're all doing better, and now we can lower our tax rate, school's doing better, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't side that way,
Right.
you know, I think we're all in the same picture
Oh,
here. It's like,
I agree.
if it's not benefiting us, then it shouldn't even be a thing.
I couldn't agree more. The district, like with the energy efficiencies, with the regionalization, we're turning over every stone we possibly can. I can tell you that we've dedicated, and Derek's been at every meeting, we've dedicated 2.5 years to this process to say, hey, is this going to be beneficial to Warren and West Brookfield? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Just like all of the other things that we do, the reason we're doing this isn't because we want to waste 2.5 years, you know, to take on another district as a charity. We want to make sure we're doing everything we possibly can to support both of our towns in their local assessments. This isn't, like I said, this isn't any other thing than an exercise to try to help our towns financially. That's, at the end of the day, that's what this is about.
So I think we'd really like to see, when you get there, the analysis of, okay, this is what transportation looks like, this is what building maintenance is gonna look like, this is how much more money we're gonna get and where it may go, and, you know, are there more opportunities for grants? I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, like a real analysis.
Right.
And I think that's what the people are gonna want too, is you
Yeah.
gotta sell them on it.
Yep, and I couldn't agree more, and, you know, I think that that's what this whole process has been about. And, you know, for me to say that it's not 100% conclusive, then that's where we're at right now. And I don't want to give you information that I can't. I would never, in good faith, I would never do anything that's gonna be detrimental to either Warren or West Brookfield, because it's our priority to take care of our kids. If it's something that would be beneficial for both towns, then that's something that I would stand on the hill for, because our goal is to make everything more affordable for everybody. We would never do anything that would be detrimental to our towns.
And I think
not how
that's
do
where we
business.
need to be educated on that, because we're in the same boat. We can't support something, and I'll tell you right now, I'll fight it to the end if it's gonna hurt our town. And I am not gonna support something that's gonna cost our residents more money and not benefit in any way. And I think you're on board with that too.
Oh,
You want, if it comes in, if we're paying another $100 to go to a
Okay.
town and we're not getting anything out of that, we're losing.
I
But if
couldn't
we're getting
agree
another
more.
$100 added to us by doing this, or whatever it is, whatever it comes out to be, where it benefits the kids more, we get more revenue, and it's lowering our costs overall by doing that, okay, now we get something we can look at and say, hey, yeah, this is benefit in our community, this is benefit in our residents. Yeah, it probably gonna suck for, kids to go to a middle school that's in a different community, because, that's going from West Warren all the way to North Brookfield is gonna be a hard commute. That's gonna add some costs to that transportation. But at least we could sit there and say, well, the town's gonna do better by doing this. If it's cutting even or it's not benefiting us, we can't make that argument.
And I wouldn't make that argument.
So.
I'd like to thank Derek for 2.5 years of coming to meetings to get to where we are now. Once again, the whole purpose behind this was to try to help offset the cost, and we, starting in the beginning to where we are now, the end goal was to offset the cost to the towns.
You guys got kind of a big monkey wrench thrown in that with having to keep that elementary school.
Yeah, no, that's difficult, and that's part of what gets factored into what the decisions will be.
How would you even do that? Would the elementary school kids just stay there now?
Well, the way that it would be, if you look at the way the regional agreement is written for that particular, for the 3-town regionalization, is the elementary kids would attend school in their home district.
Meaning we would have to pay more teachers to stay there and staff that school and teach those kids.
Well, I'd say it was probably what you already have at the elementary level, maybe a little bit less.
But you're
You
not
keep what you have.
consolidating it.
Right. No, you're not consolidating. Nope, you're not.
So there's no savings.
I can't say whether there is or if there isn't. It depends if your revenue is higher than what you already have. Right, that's where your savings come, is when you're bringing in more money than what your costs are. That's where you have your savings. That's how the savings would work. But once again, I want to be very clear. The school district did this and went through this 2.5 years to try to help offset the cost of the local assessments. And I think that, with Derek sitting in on all these meetings, it's been very helpful, because I think you went through the process with us, and we are where we are now. And as soon as we get back, I can tell you the school committee wouldn't support anything that isn't beneficial for our students in the Quabog Regional School District now. That's what their goal is to provide a solid opportunity for our kids.
Definitely, it's been a long journey and hard work for everyone, and this is not something that happens every day. It's not like we are almost trying to reinvent the wheel, because it's a unique case. So as long as we find a way to benefit our towns, I think it's a good opportunity to support. But you gotta lead us on that. You're the leader over there, and tell us, yes, this is good for Warren.
Right now, we don't have enough information to say that, though. It's kind of a tough one.
No,
It's an uphill battle on that one.
I understand 100%. And that's why I am saying what I'm saying tonight. I do not have enough information to tell you right now whether this would be a positive impact or a negative impact.
So with that said, the regional agreement is up, and because it's past the 20 years, so is it 10 years? It's expired.
Yeah.
It's expired. So we have to do a regional agreement, whether it's between the two towns. One of the things we're looking at is we're looking at the regional agreement written as is for the two towns. Because we don't know if the third town's gonna work out. And if it does, then that can be added on into the regional agreement. But there are things in there that I know we've looked at and have concerns with, because we feel the board is and you guys acknowledge the school committee's too big for the town size. You have six members from each town. You guys wrote in 3 for the new regional agreement, and that's more realistic. Having 3 members from each town would probably be more realistic. Large cities don't even have 12 members on a school district, a school board. So that's something we're looking at. And we're also looking at a few other things where FinCom should have a review of the budget. Also, the select boards should have reviews of the budgets. Because again, we have to put it forward, and we have to defend that in our towns. And right now, you guys have taken that out of our hands.
We follow what the law and the Department of Elementary and Secondary
Yeah,
Education
well,
put forward.
Desi's not in support of towns either. They're for the schools, and that's it.
Department of Elementary and Secondary Education are what grant our students their education and their high school diplomas.
So
I mean, we can agree to disagree on that. It's the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education that approves regional agreements. It's not, in no disrespect.
But it's the towns that write them.
It's no disrespect.
No, but it's the towns that write them.
It's the school department. And so, I mean, we can agree to disagree on
Well,
that, Dave.
it's the towns that write the agreements.
So the reason
and
it was,
vote on them.
3, 3, and 3 was it was the most logical way that Department of Elementary and Secondary Education looked at splitting it across the 3 towns, not the 2 towns.
You would still have less, though.
And I
Because
wanna
you'd go to a 9-member board instead of a 12-member board.
And I want to go on the record as saying that I never said that a 12-member board was too many people. I've never.
You didn't say that. No, you never
No,
said
but
that.
you
You didn't
just
say
said-
anything. I said that
You said that. The school has recognized that a 12-member board is too many.
because you wrote in 3 and 3 and 3.
I didn't write that in.
No,
The regional,
somebody-
the regional agreement committee,
Yes.
under the guidance of the
Right.
Department of Elementary and Secondary
So they
Education. and
they
the board
acknowledge
instructed
that there's too many right now.
Nobody, I can tell you, nobody on the school committee has acknowledged that there's too
Well,
many
they're not going
members
to
on the
because they
school
want their
committee.
positions.
Do you, ready?
I wouldn't write my position out of the
What-
town either.
What I would say is that the school committee is a volunteer position that gives up at least 2 nights every month, that has spent hours upon hours working very diligently to provide a budget to the town that we are hoping that can be supported. To think that a 12-member school committee is because people don't want to give their positions up, I think would be an inaccurate statement. We have trouble sometimes finding people that will do it. And with that being said, I want to thank the school committee for the countless hours that they put in. They don't get a dime for anything that they do. I would disagree that.
Well, for a
that-
smaller town in the size of our residents, the population, it would probably be easier to be able to find 3 instead of finding 6.
Yeah, and when you have 3 and you have 6, and you have, it's a numbers game, and there's quorums that go with that and things like that.
Right, it'd
But-
be easier to get a quorum. The other thing that should be written in there is that no employee of the school shall sit on the school committee.
There's no employee of the
But we
school.
should have that codified within the agreement, saying that no employees will be on the committee, because it kind of voids their vote,
I can't.
because then they can't vote on that.
In my time in this school district, there's been no employee that has sat on the school committee.
Okay. So we'll
And
make
that's my
sure,
13
we can make
years.
sure that doesn't happen by codifying that. Because again, they couldn't vote, because they couldn't vote on something that's gonna benefit them.
So-
Conflict of interest.
It's a conflict of interest.
And they can't vote on that. You're
Right.
absolutely right. So what I would ask is in complete transparency, right? Because our whole goal is to be transparent, is when we're starting to have these ideas, maybe share these ideas with the school district. Because I've worked very hard to be transparent with you for the last year, And to come to a meeting and say that this is what you want to do without having a conversation with the school district first, I would say is a complete lack of transparency.
Well, we're saying it in a public meeting.
Well, I know that you're saying in a public meeting, just like when we do our budget, and the FinCom has been at every budget meeting we have, they've had the opportunity to review our budget in a public meeting that you have been invited to the entire school year, that Ray has been kind enough to come to, so that they can review the process. That public meeting has been extended to you, so for this whole entire budget season, we've given you the opportunity to attend these meetings, and you haven't, right? So we've been very transparent with you, so I would ask for the same courtesy to be as transparent with the school district.
So it's not up to us to go and dictate what your budgets are. We review your budget, you present it to us, and how it should be done is the school district presents their budget to the select boards and FinCom for approval and their support, just like every other department does. We don't go in each department and say, okay, you need to budget for this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, because that's up to the departments. So the school district is just another department within the community. It's just, the school feels like it's above that, and they don't have to.
I will beg to differ. The school follows what the law says. The law says that the regional school committee is responsible for approving a school budget, submitting it to the town, and the town is responsible to put that budget on the floor for the people, the taxpayers in the town to vote on.
That's not how any other
That-
budget in the town works, though.
That's how every regional school budget works.
So-
You can contact the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, look at
We'll
Massachusetts.
have to look at how
general
we
laws.
can get that changed,
Well,
because that's
then
not
you'll have
exactly
to go
right.
to you'll have to go to Boston to have that changed, because it's
Well-
what the law says. It's what the Department of
And
Elementary.
we'll have our
Secondary
legal review
Education.
that, because last we heard is we have the right to be able to review that, present the budget.
So, and once again, what I would say is I would reflect back on the literature that was provided last year. And our whole goal was to avoid,
Yeah, our attorneys disagreed with what you guys provided from the school, because we do have a right to review the budget. And we do have the absolute right of doing what we did last year, and continue to do that, if we chose to. If we disagree with the budget. Again, the school's budget's getting out of hand. It's the largest budget, and it keeps on growing every year. And it's not getting any easier. And the student population's decreasing, and the budget's going up. So there's a problem there. Whether you need to review, and the school fights us on every opportunity that we try to make suggestions. We tried doing an evaluation of the staffing and procedures there. School fought us on that. They won't support it because they don't want us looking into that. Which, again, that should be something else written in the regional agreement, that a review of the staffing is done every 5 or 10 years, or whatever it is, to make sure that we have adequate staffing, or if we have too much, the staffing is reduced. We have to go with what we have for clients, and being the students. The students, if we have less students, we need less teachers. Just like you were saying with the school. If we regionalize, we're gonna need less teachers, because we're gonna have more than we need.
so what I would argue,
Same
Mr.
thing.
Chairman, and you can ask Chief Millett, you can ask Chief Millett.
Well, we're not getting them involved.
Well, they are involved because they're at
No.
the school on a regular basis. When
They're
we have
not even a
reduced,
factor in this.
when we have reduced staff, the number of calls to the police and the fire department have increased significantly, because in the budget we put forward, I'll start with that. We've worked very hard this year to put a budget forward. We've met with FinCom, we've met with the Board of Selectmen. I've been here every single month giving you updates on the budget, giving you updates on what the school is doing. I can tell you the needs of our students have increased, and I think that Chief Millett and Chief Lavoie would probably agree to the fact that the needs of our students have increased. When you reduce staff, which we have done over the last several years, then other things start to boil up. But we came forward, and I came forward this year to be as transparent as possible. This year, there was no question about whether you could come in and do an evaluation of our system, not once. You put that on the town meeting, on the special town meeting, like it should be, and the tax.
And the school fought against it.
And the school didn't fight against it, the taxpayers voted it down. That's not the school, it's the taxpayers, the same taxpayers that increased
I
and
thought you
bought.
stood up and spoke up against it.
I did, because we do an audit every single year.
So wouldn't that, you be a member of the school?
I'm a voting
Yeah.
member of the town of Warren.
So you spoke
Just like-
against us doing the audit?
Just like, I didn't speak against you doing the audit, I thought it was a misuse of our funds, because we're already doing an audit. I wouldn't want to pay
Which doesn't cover staffing.
I wouldn't want to pay $30,000 additional when we can put $30,000 either to get another
Does your
paraprofessional, you
audit
can get
cover-
equipment for the fire department, you can get another police officer for the police
Mr.
department
Duff,
with that fund,
does that
with those
audit that you
funds.
do cover staffing and school
It covers
class
school,
sizes?
it covers school spending, is what
It doesn't cover the actual staffing or what we have for teachers, or if we have more teachers than we need, which covers our expending, because if we're spending more money for more teachers that we don't need, or we have more people there at the school than what we actually need, then that's more money we're spending. And that's what you spoke up against. So you did speak up against that.
I spoke up against using the $30,000 to do an audit because I thought that that $30,000 would be more beneficial to the fire department, the police department, or additional staff so that we can support our kids adequately. That's what I stood up and spoke against. You
Okay.
can go back and you can watch it. That's exactly what I said.
Oh, I was there.
I would hate to waste $30,000 when we can spend $30,000 in more valuable places such as the police, the fire, or the school.
What if that $30,000 saved us another $150,000 in salaries?
It wouldn't save you. I can tell you it wouldn't save you another
How do you know that,
$150,000 because I run the district and I know what it takes to run the district, Dave.
Okay. But again, that would have opened up an opportunity. It could have said, oh, you need more teachers actually, or it could have said, no, you need to actually consolidate your classes a little more because your classes are a little small.
And what I would
Or
say
you
is
might need resources here, and it could have helped you guys.
And what I have said year after year is we're gonna advocate for what we absolutely need. This year, we needed 4 additional paraprofessionals for kindergarten. Could I have asked for more? I probably could have asked for more. Do I think we need more? I think we absolutely do need more. However, with that being said, it is not only my responsibility, but the school committee's responsibility who approves the regional school district's budget. That is what legally they do to make sure that we're being as mindful with the town's assessments as possible. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And that's why I've been to all your meetings. That's why we've invited you to our meetings, because this is the same process that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and Massachusetts General Law say that we have to go through. And Ray, I thank you for coming to the meetings. I think this has been the best budget season ever. All that I'm asking for is the reciprocity of being transparent when we're coming to things of this nature. Because I think that we were in a really good spot, and then, I just don't think that.
I will give you a
doing this-
compliment.
this
You
way-
are doing an awesome job. You are much more transparent than anybody has ever been. And I respect you. I love you. You're doing an awesome job. It's nothing against you. It's about doing the best we can do for our town. And
our kids are part of our town, and
They
it's
are.
about doing what's best for our
And
kids.
we want them to
That's
have
what-
the best too. Believe me,
Yep.
my kids are going to school too.
Yep.
We all have kids going to school. We want the best for our kids, but we also got to look at every little avenue, turn over every little stone, look in every little nook and cranny to find ways of being able to save. We talk about it every single meeting about how we can save. We can save $100 here, save a little bit here. We're constantly trying to constantly finding grants. Okay, we can do this. Yeah, it seems like a lot of money, but guess what? We got a grant to do that, so it's costing us nothing.
Yeah, and we got.
just like you guys are
We
doing
got
too.
$3.4 million in grants. We gave up 2.5 years to turn over every corner to look at a regionalization. We've turned over every single stone to bring in as much revenue as we can into the district, and some of it pans out. Like, I don't know if the regional agreement will pan out. The reason we do these things is the exact same reason that you ask every year, how can we save more money? We froze the budget in October so that we could have more money at the end to help offset operational assessments. We're doing everything within the school district that we can possibly do, and we're doing more. I mean, that's
You're
all that I
doing
can-
awesome. It's nothing against you. It's you're doing awesome. And honestly, you didn't really get much kickback from us on the budget, when you proposed the budget. We looked at it and like, oh, okay. You didn't walk in here asking for 1.5 or $2 million above minimum contribution. You're actually more realistic now. It's like, okay, we couldn't even argue it.
Well, and that's part of
In-
what
in
being
that-
transparent as
right.
well, and that's what's part of having all these budget meetings that we had. You know, you have 12 budget meetings, you know, I know you said the school committee don't want to give up a seat. They give up 12 days during budget season that are outside of your normally scheduled meetings. That's 12 days, and I know you guys do as well, and I appreciate it, that take away from your family and your kids.
So we meet as often as we have to, and we have a lot of meetings
Yeah.
that are executive sessions, other meetings that we gotta go to. So I don't even look at it as far as, well, we have a lot of meetings, we have a lot of time. We look at, what are we getting done? And what have we accomplished, and what are we being able to make, how can we make the town better? And that's all we've been looking at.
And we accomplished a budget that was 1.76% higher than the net assessment last year. That's what we accomplished. And you know what? I'm pretty darn proud of that. I really am.
And you
That's
should
what
be.
we accomplished from all
You
these
should be.
meetings. And, you know, we look at what our outcomes are as well. I don't want you to think that we're going into this blindly. We've worked very hard to get to the point where we're at.
I'll tell you right now, our goal is not to see above minimum contributions anymore. That's what we would ultimately like to see.
And I would like that too.
And as long as we're both working towards that and saying, okay, we're gonna eliminate this above minimum contribution someday.
How do we do it?
How do we do it? And let's work towards that, because going the other way and increasing above minimum, above more, it's not sustainable. And with declining class population, and it's going higher. And it's like, how is that possible? You get less students. Why are you paying more now? You know, it shouldn't be happening. We should be going the other way. And that's why we're looking at different means, okay? If it's costing us so much, where is it costing us so much? Is it because the classes are we get too few students per teacher? Maybe we consolidate a class, and instead of having 12 students, we have 18 students in a class. That could be, and I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know the numbers. And now we could do it with one teacher instead of two teachers, and we're paying one salary instead of two salaries. And I don't want to cut teachers. I don't want to cut those numbers. I want teachers to be employed. I want all that to happen. But realistically, people aren't having the kids like they used to. You know, families, I was just listening on the news, and they were talking about how ages between 25 and 40, 50% of the population have no kids now. And it's like, how is that, where you go back 20 years, and it was like the average was 3 to 4 kids. And now it's like when people are having kids, it's only 2 kids, or maybe 1. Large families aren't a thing anymore. You got a few here and there, but people just aren't having a lot of kids. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse as the population goes. And
what
years
I
go
would
by.
say, I agree with you 100%, and what I can tell you is that reductions have been made. And unpopular reductions have been made.
Well, they're always going to be really unpopular.
Well, from going from 3 to 2 and putting 29 to 30 kids in a class, because we're able to do that to help offset the budget, those reductions have been made. I don't want you to think that these are just things that are being added. There have been several reductions. If you look back, and I'm not going to go down this road, but if you look back over the last 10 years, the number of reductions that have been made, not having instructional coaches, not having all of those pieces, curriculum directors that other schools have, all those positions have been removed. And when I tell you we're at bare bones, I'm telling you we're at bare bones. You can't pad numbers. It's what the reality of it is. Are we short-staffed? Yeah, I would say that we're short-staffed. Do we have trouble filling positions? We have trouble filling positions. When you start at $16 an hour to work with kids that have some very difficult behaviors, and you can go over to Walmart and make $18 an hour and not have to take anything home with you, that's what you do. I think that, I don't know if it was the police and the fire department that did a great job of rectifying their salary schedules last year because you want to retain employees. I can't hire employees at $16 an hour, and that's what our salary for our starting paraprofessionals are. We can't even get people to walk in the door. And I think that the police and the fire department, with the raises that they gave last year, or 2 years ago, I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, was
2 years
what,
ago.
2 years ago is what needed to happen so that you can get qualified individuals to come in. To come into Warren is.
Well, even that was on the low side.
Yeah, and ready, and
It's-
where, if you look at where we are paying our teachers, we are on the low side. We're, out of 10 districts, we're either 8 or 9, that, on the lowest end. And we know, would I love to give my teachers, do I think my teachers deserve a 10% increase? I absolutely do. Can we do that to the town? We absolutely can, right? We try to live within our means, and I know that our means means the above minimum contributions going up. Our goal is to have no above minimum contribution. We looked at the regional agreement. The goal was to make that above minimum contribution smaller and smaller and smaller. Is it gonna pan out? I can't tell you. I told you when we started, I don't have that answer. But we are looking at every way to make that minimum contribution smaller. When you have $150,000, this isn't this year, last year, when you have a $150,000 increase in electricity and the state gives you an additional $30,000, you're already $120,000 short.
And it's going up again.
And it's going up again. Our electricity actually is coming down, which is nice. But because
The
we got a
price of
2
it's going up.
well,
but-
we got a 2-year deal, so our price is locked in, and we're
Okay.
actually going down, which is great. But when we're not, and they've argued the budget, that the formula is broken for the last 50 years. I'm not gonna say the formula is broken, but I can tell you that we haven't been adequately funded by the state, which at the end of the day hurts the towns.
Mhm.
I get that, I live here, I pay my taxes, I understand. But
And
it's the
that's above
taxpayers.
our pay scale, until we
Yeah.
can get somebody that recognizes that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, in the governor's office and sit there and make those changes instead of other programs that really aren't needed, but stop funding education. You know, then a difference can be made, but
But I think it's our
unfortunately, we don't
responsi-
have that.
Right, and I think it's our responsibility as a school district and as a town and as taxpayers to work together to put something forward that is gonna support some of the most valuable resources in our town, which are our kids. And at the end of the day, it's about what are we providing our kids with? Is it sufficient or is it not sufficient? The budget that we came forward with this year is sufficient to support our kids, and where there are less deficiencies, we're using grant funding for social workers to bring them in and work with some of our higher need kids. So we're finding ways to offset the costs of the town and to support the needs of our kids. And we're working, honestly, we're working really, really hard at that. You know, and I would just, like I said, when this whole first thing started, I would just like the same dialogue back and forth. And, you know, I'll be candid with you, I feel kind of blindsided coming in and saying, well, we need to change the regional agreement. These are conversations that I think that we can openly have now, and that's
We
what.
are happening.
Well, I know that we are.
That's
but-
why we're
and-
talking to you
right,
about it.
And I talk with Jim, I talk with everybody offline sometimes, so we know what we're coming into. And I think that's what being transparent is about. I've sent numbers, I gave you numbers back in February. and
So
they're
so
gonna
you know,
change.
we're hyper-focused on the regional agreement.
Well, I clearly you are, I mean, but
And
once again.
we're
this
concerned
is-
with it.
This is new to me. This is where that open transparency and the open conversations, that's how relationships work, is you communicate back and forth, not just.
But we get time. We get time now to
Well,
work
I-
through it and look at it, because, you know, I'd be interested to see what, you know, what changes need to be made. If we can get a copy of the new one that's there, if we can possibly get a copy of that from you, that would be greatly appreciated. You know, we have the one that was sent to them. and
Sent to who?
Was it Desi?
No, Derek's on the committee.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek's been on the committee for 2.5 years, and and once again, this is information that should have been shared with the Board of Selectmen, because you asked me about the regional agreement at the last town meeting.
And we've talked.
Well,
We've
you
talked
told me you
about it.
didn't know about it, and Derek's been on the committee for a year and a half. That was the whole purpose of the regional agreement, was to have a Board of Selectmen on it. So once again, this open transparency and communication is something that is very important.
So, with all that, because again, you can't even say that it's gonna profit or benefit the town, and Mr. Belize, have you come to a conclusion if it's gonna benefit the town in any way? Have you seen any evidence that it's gonna happen?
Not yet, sir.
So that's why we have questions.
I don't disagree that there should be questions. That's why the Board
And
of
then-
Selectmen's been part of this process for the last 2.5 years.
Right.
But to be questioned why the Board of Selectmen wasn't aware of this when Derek had been sitting on the committee for a year and a half, it was kind of
We
surprising.
are aware of it.
Well, yeah,
And we're aware of the agreement, because he made us aware of it, which he should be doing, and sent it to us. And we looked at it, and we have concerns.
so I want to be clear, that regional agreement is not put forward by the school committee. I want to be very clear about that. That's put forward by the regionalization committee.
Right.
The school committee hasn't even seen that agreement yet because they can't vote on an agreement until it's approved by the Department of Elementary and Secondary.
But again, this is the one that was put forward to DESI,
Correct.
and this is what we're looking at, because that was what they came up with. So
Well-
that's why we're looking at it and
I want to be
saying,
clear at who are they?
the regional agreement.
The regional agreement. This
yes.
is not, I want to just be very clear that the
Right.
school committee and the regional agreement are two totally separate entities.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with the Quabog Regional School District School Committee.
But even before it makes it to them, we're having concerns about what this is, because there's issues in there, and there's things that need to be changed.
And that is why there's
Mm-hmm.
representation from each Board of Selectmen, from parents, and from administration. So it would be
But he
Derek.
briefs us
Yep,
and lets us know in a meeting, because that's when we call him and say, okay, we're gonna have a meeting. We're gonna have a meeting on this subject, because it has to be open meeting.
yep.
We discuss with him, what did you find out? Is this gonna benefit us?
And as being part of the regional agreement, it's your responsibility to bring that information
Yep.
back to the committee and say, this is what our concerns are.
And-
That's how committees operate.
Again, he brings it to us, we look at it and say, okay, well, this doesn't really work well for our town. We're not really happy with what's being put forward here, so we're gonna have to make some changes to this. And, send that back, because, we're not happy with it, or we'll just do our own and have the town vote on that one.
So, once again, Derek is the representation from the Board of Selectmen for the town of Warren. Derek has a vote in that process, and I'm not saying that that vote's gonna pass or it's not gonna pass. Honestly, I don't know. But as part of the regional agreement committee, Derek has a vote. Just like every taxpayer in this town has a vote to vote on things, Derek has the responsibility to vote whether he thinks that this is beneficial for the town or not. He has the opportunity to bring back any recommendations that the Board of Selectmen have to the committee, and then the committee has the opportunity to vote on that to see whether that goes into the regional agreement, that this is not the West Brookfield Warren regional agreement. This is the West Brookfield Warren North Brookfield potential regional agreement if we chose to regionalize.
Which I don't understand, why are we doing a regional agreement and including them in there right off the bat, if the town hasn't even voted that we even want to regionalize with them?
Because that's the way that the law works, that's the way that these regionalizations have to take place. There are steps and procedures that we have to follow, and this is what the step and procedure is. We can't present the school committees at Quabog or at North Brookfield with a regional agreement that has been voted on by the regional agreement committee. We can't present that to the school committees until the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education approve it.
So-
And then it would go to the school committees.
So is there another version of the regional agreement that's being done up that doesn't include North Brookfield?
This is the regional agreement committee right here that we are working on with Derek.
Yes, to include North Brookfield, but one that doesn't include North
We have a
Brookfield.
regional agreement.
Yes, but that one's expired.
We have a regional agreement. It gets extended each year.
It's past its extension. It's already gone over its extension now. So a new one has to be done.
I'll provide you with documentation on that tomorrow.
So there
I'll
is
reach out
one.
to you, Jim. I'll reach out to Jim on that. Was the.
So there is one. There's a second one that doesn't include them?
We have a regional agreement in place right now.
I know, but that one's expired. Is it?
I will forward you the law regarding regional agreements that are in
I
place.
don't want to know the law. I want to see the regional agreement. Is there a
You
new
have
one?
it.
Is there a new one that doesn't include North Brookfield?
You have the regional, you should have the regional agreement that doesn't include North Brookfield. It's
The
in
one- Not the
existence.
expired one.
So I will provide you with documentation on the law regarding regional agreements for the one that's currently in place.
Oh, okay, this is in a circle?
Yeah.
So I think we've seen the existing agreement.
Yeah.
And I think what we would like to do is have a discussion about it. I guess maybe that's with the school committee. So it's expired, so from our point of view, we feel that we would like to talk about it.
Okay.
So if that's with the school committee, I think that's what we wanna do.
Okay, so,
So we're sort of up,
We
we
can
would like
invite
to.
the school committee in for a meeting then.
Or we can go to their meeting, but yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, we would like, I think.
I'll reach
to
out and
start
find out what the process on that is.
start
I can't tell you what.
A negotiation on
So
it.
what I will do is I'll reach out to legal counsel and figure out what the process on that is. You're talking about two different regional agreements here. You're talking
Right.
about one
Right,
that
there
you
are
want
two
changed
different-
there.
yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, the original one you were talking about was the one that Derek has a vote on.
That's the one with the North Brookfield,
Yep.
Yeah,
which is a different one. And then there's the one that was in existence, which is currently expired.
I will.
We gotta look at
So I
that
think-
one too.
we would like to talk about negotiating that and also updating it. I mean, looking at the current one, there's a lot of references to 1989 and 88 when it was formed. So a lot of that language can be dumped with a new agreement. And then we have issues that we would like to talk about.
Sure, so what I'll
that
do
we have
is
concerns.
I'll reach out to Jim. It may be tomorrow, it may not be tomorrow. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a super busy day tomorrow. But I'll reach out to you and I'll let you know what the process, what that is, and then Jim can share that information with you.
So we're almost kind of thinking two tracks, right? Because we're gonna end up with one of these. Either.
Not one now, but yes.
Well, but I mean, eventually, yeah, we would like to look at the current one. Maybe the new one will take over with North Brookfield, but if it doesn't, then we'd like to look at the other
And
one.
I'll let
It's
you
kind
know.
of two track.
Yep, and I'll let you know what the process behind that is.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, because we gotta plan, because if the North Brookfield doesn't go in, we still need another one between the two towns, that's agreed between the two towns. So we have to work on two of them at the same time, basically. Because just in case if this one doesn't go through, we still have one that we've worked on between Warren and West Brookfield.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I think we
Beat this
grilled
one
them
through.
enough.
I know, you.
Thank you. Thank you for
We
coming.
appreciate you missed it.
No, I appreciate it.
So, did you have anything, Mr. Delise?
No, sir. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, all right, discussion with the highway surveyor on proposed projects for fiscal year 2025, chapter 90 funds, and an update on the $1,093,733 in funding for storms for July 16th to July 18th, 2021, and July 27th, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did invite Jeremy to the
Not here.
meeting today.
He's probably out
He's
doing
busy.
storm work.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we probably gotta,
Why don't- I mean, maybe
Table
we
it
could
to next
table it to
meeting.
next meeting.
yeah. You guys good with tabling it?
But in your packets, you will find, I did contact Mass DOT, and there's a spreadsheet of Chapter 90 balance, so between now and next week, if you want to peruse that, I was able to get that for projects that are open and projects that have been completed. You can look at that in your packet.
Okay.
So that
And then-
July 27th storm in 21, that was like the 9 inches in 24 hours or something, right?
Right,
That was
right.
that
And
huge.
so the state gave the town a little over $1 million in money that has to be spent within a certain time period. The time period is approaching.
Yeah.
Hmm,
I know
okay.
he has some projects that he wants to take care of, and they gotta take care of, Coy Hill, because Coy Hill kinda got wiped out with
That's
the big
part
storm.
of it, yep.
And, all right, so we'll just table it to next meeting, because Jeremy's the man for this one, and, you guys good with that?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, let's table it to next meeting. Okay, review request from the sewer commissioners to start a new employee for the position of operator mechanic, Justin Peck, at step 1 on the wage scale upon successful obtaining a grade 4 or higher mass wastewater license, be moved to a step 3 anticipated vote. Mr. Ferrari, you have something on this?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, the members of the board, before you this evening is a letter from the chair of the Warren Sewer Commissioners, Joan Levine. She is indicating to the board that we were successful in locking in and giving a conditional offer to Mr. Justin Peck of Southbridge, who has experience in the wastewater treatment field, unfortunately was working in the private wastewater treatment field prior to this potential employment here with the town, and because he was working for a private food industry, the private food industry did not require him to hold a mass license, so he let his license lapse. Since he's now going back into the public sector, we're requiring that any new hire down at the sewer plant have a wastewater treatment license, grade 4 or higher, for this position. We feel confident that this person could take the course within the next 3 to 6 months and pass it. And if that person did pass it, we feel that it would be justifiable to move that person to a step 3.
Okay. And this position's remained empty for over 5 months.
Correct.
And this is one of those positions, if we don't have enough people, the DEP starts
DEP,
finding us.
Yep.
So we have to make sure the position's filled, and it is a licensed position, so it's kind of one of those hard positions to fill. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, but I think it's just a comment that it's a good thing to incentivize this person to go
Yeah. Get it.
and get it, because we need it.
Yeah.
So there's no time limit on this, I noticed, but I guess that's fine.
In the offer letter, it's 6 months.
So he has to do it in 6 months?
Yep.
Okay.
So if he
All right.
receives his grade 4 in 6 months, then he'll get the step 3.
Right. Or if he gets it sooner, then he gets it
Sooner.
right away.
Right,
Yeah.
so sooner. 6 months or sooner.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. You guys ready for a vote?
I'll make a motion to start Justin Peck at the sewer department at step 1 and upgrade him to step 3 once he has successfully obtained a grade 4 or higher wastewater license.
Second.
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing, acknowledgement of resignation of Betty Jo O'Brien, Assistant Assessor, effective April 11th, 2024. Ms. O'Brien is leaving the town of Warren, and we wish her the best.
Mr. Chairman, I have reached out to the Board of Assessors, working with them to get this position posted. We're hoping for early next week.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, review submitted proposal by Collins Center, UMass Boston, for classification and compensation study for all town positions. This is a study that will be done to go through our wage classification, because again, for the municipal employees that we have for town, we can only vote for a 3-year agreement, and the classification is only good for 3 years.
3 minutes.
Yeah, not 3 minutes, 3 years. And it'd be a bad position if it was only 3 minutes. We'd be rewriting this every minute. But, so it's been 2 years now, and we're on our 3rd year now.
Going
so
into
it's-
our 3rd, yep.
So it's coming up where it's gonna have to be identified. The Collins Center specializes in this type of thing, where they would research communities of our size, and the positions and the licensing and what's done for that, and identify what the proper pay scale would be for an employee of the similar position that's competitive. So, Mr. Farrar, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I will say that, it's our hope to have this on for an article for the annual town meeting. This potential study, which will ultimately result in a new wage classification scale for the town, is projected to cost around $25,000. And so I'm feeling very confident that there's a possibility that we may also be able to get a grant in the fall for this to cover the $25,000. But in case, there's always a probability that we may not get a grant. But in case we don't get a grant, I would highly recommend that it be placed on for an article so that this study can be done. I have contacted the Collins Center. They've been very vast and done this for several cities and towns across the state. And they know this stuff. It's going to take them about 6 months to complete, and they feel confident that they could get it completed for us by February of next year, right around the time that we can have our budget talks for next year.
So is there a chance we could wait to apply for the grant?
So the grant doesn't open until the end of August. So, and awards are made usually around, they're made on a rolling basis. You will probably know in September, late September, early October. If we get the grant, then that's great. Then we don't have to use the article and it can go back. If we don't get the grant, then that's when we can use the article.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the timing is off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they also look at the structure of how we pay too, like these pay scales.
Yes, so that
Is
would
that
be part of it.
really a good way to do it? Is
So
there other
it
ways?
will look
that
at the
other-
classifications of the positions.
Yeah.
It'll clean up some of the job descriptions as well.
Okay.
Go through all of that. It'll do a labor market analysis survey. They'll ultimately create a salary schedule, a proposed salary schedule. But for the classifications of the position, the center will also classify each position using a point factor analysis system applied to the job descriptions that we provide them. The factors include supervisory skills, complexity, judgment, physical requirements, work environments. And the center will also contact, other neighboring towns and do their analysis as well. Again, this is good for a third party, so it's not anybody here that is in charge of it. So it's totally third party that is can make a fair an analysis of if we're paying people correctly and if the positions are classified correctly.
Okay. I think it's important to have that, because none of us are trained to do that. We just kind of winged it the last time.
We did
To
wing
try
it.
to
Yeah.
kind of get the comparable to other towns, so we at least keep people, but this is somebody that's gonna come through and revamp everything and tell us if we're doing it right or wrong.
And they've done this, there's 2.5 pages, 3 pages, 3.5 pages
And
of them doing this, so, yeah, I think it's a good idea.
All right. Very good, sir. Oh, yeah, these are all the towns that they've done already?
Yes.
East Bridgewater, Groverland, Southborough, Webster, West Newbury, Dover, Grafton, Uxbridge, Deerfield, Hamden, Stowe, Worthington, Abington. Oh, there's a lot of them. It just keeps on going on. Yeah, they've pretty much done every town.
Yeah. They're very experienced when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, they've done quite a bit. So they know their stuff. All right. Yeah, because we're getting back to at that time, we're gonna have to review these, what we're paying people again. And again, we're back at that point where we're starting to lose people, so. All right. Did you guys have anything else on that?
Nope.
You good?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So if we fail to get the money and we fail to get the grant, what happens? We do that ourselves
We're gonna
again?
have to do it ourselves
We
the
wing
best
it.
we can. And come up with, just like we did before, and, you know, try to get it to the best we can.
Well, I'll argue for it, because I don't want to do it again.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, you were very stressed
Well,
during that time.
I don't mind the work because it will save money, but I don't think we're doing it, that's not our,
Well, we're not doing it
Specialty.
justice because we
No.
don't know what we're,
I
I don't wanna say we don't know we don't know what we're doing, but we're not the experts in this thing.
That's what I was
And
trying
having
to
a
say.
third party
Yeah.
come, they're independent. They may turn around and say, you know something? So-and-so is making way too much money, and you might wanna reduce that scale. I highly doubt that, because I don't think anybody's making too much money, but they could do that.
What if it comes
They
the
could
opposite?
say, they're making way
Well, yeah.
less money. And if they say the opposite, you should be paying this other person $100,000, then we might wanna look at if we need that person. Cause I don't think we can jump up a salary by $100,000,
Mm.
you know? But, it's not fair to the employees not to do it, pay them fair. And it's also, it's just one of those things that has to be done. And having a third party come in and review it and say, okay, your position descriptions say this, and maybe they should only say this. Because is this person really doing all this, all the extra stuff?
No, I understand the thing. I'm just trying to see the big picture. What if, if we
Well,
if we get
again,
the,
we just don't know.
if we get the grant and then they say we are underpaid and how do we get the money, or if we don't get any money and then we have to do it again ourselves, that's okay.
We do the best we can.
We do the best we can.
Yeah.
That's all we can do, is do the best we can. And that's what we always do, is try to do the best we can, and, try to keep employees by also making sure that we're considering that this is actually tax money. This is people's money that are already having a hard time right now, especially with the economy, and keeping it to where we can maintain our employment force, but not hurt the residents either. So it's constantly a balance. Nobody's gonna get rich in this town. We all know that. By working here, you're not gonna get rich working in a municipal town. But, people gotta be able to earn a living too, so they can pay for food and things like that. So, it'd be interesting, and it's actually kind of a point in time where there's so many variables, because with with inflation and everything going on the way
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Definitely.
So-
Do you know how many chances we have to get the grant? What are our chances? 50-50?
It's a competitive grant. I feel pretty strongly that I think we could get it.
Well, this is an activity that they've given grants for in the past.
Correct.
So this is not like we're coming out of
Correct.
left field.
Correct.
This is an approved activity that they'll pay for.
Right.
Well, if we get the grant, if we don't get the grant, we get the money. If we don't get the money, I'm going to try to help as much as I can.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Mr. Farrar, did you have anything else
No,
for us?
no.
You good? All right. You good?
Yep.
All right, moving on. Earth Day cleanup, April 20th, 2024. Meet at Warren Community Elementary School parking lot for 8:45 a.m. So the cleanup starts at 9 a.m. and we're all going to meet up at the Warren Community Elementary School parking lot for 8:45 a.m. Are they gonna be buses or something?
Mrs.
what's
Fortin
going on?
said something about, she had made some, connections with one of the bus companies. I'm not sure, how they're gonna work out that logistics of it.
Okay.
I know that today we were successful in getting those bags, the yellow
Yeah.
highway bags, which were very nice from Mass DOT. Thank you very much for that. And then Chief Lavoy also gave us some vests as well. So we have that, and we have gloves. I've contacted the trial court to get them to help us and participate and possibly provide us with some those nifty nabber grabbers for picking up trash. But, you know, I think this would
Is
be a
Highway
great...
Department helping us out with this?
Yeah, Jimmy McKeon is helping.
Now,
the
when we
highway.
get all this trash and we get it all
Yep,
these bags filled,
Jimmy's going to have a
where are we
truck.
getting rid of them?
He's going to have a
Jim's
truck.
taking the truck?
Yeah, and he's coordinating with the dump, at the transfer station. The transfer station is going to take.
Because we gotta pay to throw it away.
I think they've worked out some agreement. They've worked out an
Okay.
agreement in that.
All right, because that's something we might wanna look at
Mhm.
someday is. if
Now
we-
they're not
Well,
going
if
to
we
take
can
any
get a dumpster-
bulky items.
No.
They're going to just take bags of trash.
But if
Yeah,
we can
along the
look at
road
like
and stuff.
getting a dumpster maybe for highway, because highway has to, every time they clean up the trash off the sides of the roads, they have to pay to get rid of that.
Mhm.
It's not free, so when people think it's funny to throw their trash out the window or dump a mattress on the side of the road or a recliner, our highway department has to pay to get rid of that now. So that's actually costing the residents
Yeah, taxpayer.
to dispose of that. So people should be very upset when they see a couch or something being dumped on the side of the road, because that's costing you and your taxes to get rid of it now. So, I just wanted to point that out, because that was something that was brought up to me. So we wanna make sure we keep an eye out for that. All right, so Earth Day, great opportunity. I'm gonna be there. You gonna be there?
I think so, yeah.
I did the QR code, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. It asks you your name, your phone number, your cell number, and then it asks you how many people are joining.
Mhm.
So Jim and I have already signed up for it with the QR code.
Very good.
Makes it really easy.
Are you helping?
Hopefully.
I'll sign you up.
Sign me up.
All right. So at least us four, you're showing up?
Mhm.
So us five are gonna be there. I'm sure all of you too, right? All right. So we'll all be cleaning up on the 20th. All right, next thing on the agenda, discussion on any potential articles for the annual and special town meeting, anticipated vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the board tonight, this was a list that was compiled from our discussions. I do have, all the departments had come in with their requests. I'm compiling them right now. You'll have a full list next week at next week's meeting. These were just with some of the talking points that were brought up at the for the Board of Selectmen. I wasn't sure if you had any other ones that you may want to consider.
What's the, how much for number one, the Architectural Insights one?
That's for the windows, but you're saying the windows were good, they just need to be resealed?
No, this is.
No, that's the panel.
That's the old bill.
Oh, the pay the
Old
old
Town
bill.
Hall.
Oh, okay, all right, go with the old town. Why are we paying them again? We thought we fought this.
From last time I called the gentleman, they said that the bills were valid and they were still owed.
Yeah, but they haven't proved why we owed them.
Okay.
Because, again, this keeps on coming up, and, we've paid them everything we owed them. What is this bill for?
It's for drafting. Apparently, it didn't get sent in, it didn't get paid.
Drafting what?
We talked about this. How much was?
Yeah, it was
Well-
some crazy amount.
No, I think
And when
it
you
was
looked it up, it's like they were
2,000
way
bucks
above.
or something?
It's about 3, I think,
Oh, is it 3,000?
I think. Do you want me to go get the bill?
But we already paid for that, because when they designed the windows,
But if you remember correctly, they couldn't get what we needed, so they had to redesign the windows.
for that shim, we're paying $3,000 for a shim?
Let me go
Do we
get
have the
bill.
drawings?
I don't know if I have the drawings. I don't think I do.
Yeah, we need to look into this one, because that's ridiculous. We argued this bill before, and they made a mistake
So I assume.
on that, on the size of the windows, because they didn't, when they measured the windows, there was a piece
No.
in there that they had to remove, and then they had to make a shim.
Yeah, in all projects, there are shop drawings, and
Yeah,
if
it's
we,
$1,627.70.
1.6.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, but.
No, but why are we paying for something that we don't have to pay, we shouldn't be paying for in the first place?
I just wanna see the plan.
I'll have to look.
Yeah, see if we can research this and dig this one up, because I'm not paying for a bill.
You know, it's at least
Give that to
20
Derek, see-
25 hours of work, what they're charging. If we put $60
Well,
an
they also
hour.
charge for coming out and for travel time, et cetera.
That whole window thing at that town hall, I'm telling you, that. Not happy with that whole situation, because that was a sketchy deal in the first place, so. Can you call them and ask them, tell them, we're not paying them unless you tell us exactly what we're paying for. What is it that this money is going towards that we are supposedly paying for?
So in
Because
this-
we had there was a contract with them for
And
work.
On this invoice, it says there, principal CAT is, you know, it's a drawing. I just wanna see the drawing, computer aid design, yeah. I just wanna see the drawing, if it's worth, you know, $800.
It's stock windows.
I know.
What was CAD done? What was the design? They weren't specialty windows.
So they must be shop drawings, but, I mean, like Rich said, it's not much, but I wanna see what they are charging for. You know, if they show me a set of plans they did, it doesn't look like a small shop drawing.
But if it's beyond what was already agreed, because there was already an agreement to do this, they agreed to a price, and now they're charging us more. And if it's for that stupid shim because they mismeasured their windows, that's their price. They sucked that up.
I wanna see a sealed plan with our windows, with our building, you know, that we're paying for. Even they didn't do it at the end.
Yeah, it's what was it, $1,600?
Mhm.
But it's $1,600 that, why would we?
All right, well, so
That's
you're gonna
taxpayer
look and see
money.
if you have plans or something? Okay.
Look up the contract, look up everything, and see if this was beyond what was agreed in the contract, why we're paying for it, and how much money we actually gave them. You know, and you gotta remember, they didn't put in half the windows because they didn't feel safe putting the windows in.
I don't know if these were the installers, I think these were just the.
Yeah, I mean, the
The
design,
architect-
This is
designers,
CAD.
right?
design
Right.
work would have been done.
Yeah.
Which was also the site manager
Oh.
for the project,
Okay.
so. And he mismeasured the windows, so the architect that measured the windows to have them installed and put them in didn't measure them right,
Mm.
so,
They're $90 for traveling too.
yeah. This bill's not going away until we resolve it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's, let's not even consider that one until we know
All right.
as an article,
Okay.
because I'm not putting that in front of the town.
Excuse me, Chair,
Yes, sir.
can I speak to this?
Sure.
Please. Ray Capaco, from the Finance Committee. I just make a recommendation to the board that there be some specific assignment of how this is gonna get resolved. For example, your secretary, the town administrator, and the town accountant get together and find the materials that would resolve this.
Absolutely.
I just think it's been kicked around long enough, and there's no real specific plan in place, from my observation, about how this is gonna get resolved. So I just wanted to offer that as a suggestion to the board.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. Let's figure out why they keep on, I know they keep on saying, well, because you owe it. Again,
Mhm.
we've already given them money, and I wanna know why we owe this. You know, again, where's the CAD designs?
Where's the
What's
plan?
What's
If
the
we-
plan?
if
Is this
we-
beyond what we originally?
Did we even get the plan? You know?
And if it's a CAD design for that stupid shim because of his mistake, that's their problem.
Mhm.
You know, I ain't paying for another company's mistake. So let's figure that out, and again, let's follow up with it next week, see where we get from there, but, you know,
Are you good with that? Or do you have any recommendations?
Well, yeah, I mean, no, I think, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. I think we gotta, you know, I'll call him again and see if he's got any designs, or see if we can find something in the files downstairs in the office. You know, it was
Yeah, because
it was in 2020 and 2021
Mhm.
when the work supposedly happened, so.
You know, I can see myself on the floor and say, hey, we have to pay for this, and we don't even have the plan, and, you know.
well, what are we paying for? I don't know. They say we owe it. We don't know if we really do, though. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, again, I don't, I'm all for paying a bill we owe, but just not for somebody else's mistake.
Mhm.
For a product that we don't have.
Hmm.
Because the plan could help later on, but
Yeah.
no plan.
You know,
If we
we'd
sell
already
if we-
paid for all
look
this
at this way.
architectural services to design the windows or put them in, and measure them
Mhm.
originally.
If we sell the building hypothetically, and then we can say, here are the plans, including the ones that they made for the windows. It's just one more thing, but we don't have that plan.
All right. So the other one's 25,000 for repairs of any town hall buildings. Now, are we gonna do this as an article, or we were talking about doing this as a line item now?
Yeah, I like.
Because this is a consistent
Ongoing,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I
don't
like
know,
the line
Ray,
item.
what would you think on that? Because this is to maintain the buildings, and it's a constant, like either do floors or do painting or whatever.
I think it was the consensus of the finance committee that this should be a line item in your budget.
Mhm.
Because it makes, because we have to keep on doing it as an article, and it doesn't make sense to do an article. Let's just do it. You guys good with? line
Yeah,
item?
yeah, that's what I think we argued last week or the week before.
Mr. Belize?
I'm completely agree that it
Line
should be a
item?
line item.
Yeah.
All right, let's add it as a line
Okay,
item
sure,
from now
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Because we know this is gonna be something that's gonna be budgeted, and we don't have to fight for it each time at the
Mhm.
town, because we're gonna do painting, you're gonna maintain the buildings, so.
We have enough articles anyway. and we
Yeah.
can Move this one into the budget.
So do we want it under Selectmen A or D?
Wherever maintenance is usually,
A.
so, we'll do that. Doesn't really mean anything, it's just a letter designation, it's not like it's a person.
I know, I just wanted to know where to put it.
Um, And then we did the classification study, bylaw change to include the town administrator by codifying a position, right?
Correct. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then money to have legal research, and ownership of the West Warren Cemetery. Yeah, that's something we haven't talked about in a while. We haven't, we don't know if we own the cemetery.
Yeah. I guess Karen got it from one of the minutes of the meetings.
Yeah. Is Sylvia still, have we talked to her in a while about this?
I am not.
Well, the last time we talked, when you sent the letter of approval or support.
So, well, it's
Yeah,
a,
the
it's a
letter of
letter of
support
support for it to
for
be a
the
historical site.
site. That's kind of how we left it. We haven't talked to her since then.
But it's one of those, we're maintaining it, we're doing upgrades to that property, and we don't even know if we own it.
Correct.
So, we don't even know who owns it.
What's the cost on this one? Any idea?
Could be substantial.
Like, what's substantial?
20,000.
Oh,
Title research, title, you gotta get a
Do we care that
title
much?
examiner.
Why
yeah.
isn't Sylvia putting this one forward?
She could.
Because you know we're gonna get questioned on that, because this is a historical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You should probably talk to her about that.
Well, everybody got the memo of sending in articles
Right.
from all the departments. So.
Well, she might not even be thinking about
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah.
I would talk to her, see if she's willing to put that article forward, if that's what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, honestly, we might actually be encroaching on somebody else's property that we don't even own. And what if they turn around and they come back and say, "Get off my property"? Why are you there?
Yeah.
There's always that chance, because they just put the new flagpole up there in that cemetery, and they've been doing a lot of tree work. You could set us up for a lawsuit because we're cutting trees down on property we don't even own.
Well, so you're in favor of doing this?
Well, we need to know who owns it.
Okay, but you just want Sylvia to do it?
Well, it should be, because it's a historical thing, or at least cemeteries should be putting it forward. One of those departments should put this forward, because we're not in charge of cemeteries.
Yeah,
If you
okay.
can talk with them on
Okay.
cemeteries.
Yeah, that's fine.
And say, hey, you guys might want to do this and do the research for this, because we don't know who owns that cemetery.
Would the Historical Society have any information?
No, because that would have been settled at,
Yeah, the last they knew, it was private, but it was because it was a private plot for the farm that was there, and then all those plots were cut up and sold to residential and other things, and there's portions that were maintained within the family, but so many, over the hundreds of years, people have passed away and family, it's changed hands, so now nobody knows who really owns it.
And the last time they sold it, what they sold to somebody, they cut out, that wasn't included. The cemetery part was not included with the sale. So that's why we don't know who owns it.
Because we know that property that's next door to it is all for sale now.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the cemetery is like a little island in there,
Yep.
but there's no name attached to it anymore. So, we don't own it, we don't have rights to it, but we're maintaining it because it's a cemetery in our community. But again, we don't have legal rights to be able to do anything on that property, because if somebody comes forward and says, hey, that's my property, I don't know why you guys are on it, then we get a problem. Or turns around and said, why did you cut down those trees? I never gave you permission to cut my trees down. We can get in some trouble with that. Or it could get to the point where we can say it's been abandoned and we've been maintaining it for so long, it's ours now. We might have an argument with that, but we just don't know. So that's where we have to do a title search
deed search, yeah.
and find out and make notifications and say, because we can't even argue with somebody until we know who we're arguing with,
Yeah.
so. But again, that, because it's a cemetery, it should be going to the cemetery
Okay.
department or Sylvia for historical, because she's trying to preserve it as a historical landmark. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, did you have anything else added to add for the,
I don't have anything else.
No, man. did you have anything else added?
Mm-mm. No.
No, sir.
No more? Okay. All right. Next thing on the agenda is review a request from the Cable Advisory for a possible fiscal year 2024 cap increase of 39,000 anticipated vote. And here he comes. Travis is on his way down. How you doing,
Try
Travis?
not to fall down the stairs.
That's important.
All
I
right.
do it pretty often.
So identify who you are, what your position is, and why you want a cap increase.
So Travis Baker, Chairman Cable Advisory. So we had been looking at putting more into the school at Quabog Regional. One of the big things was like when we do the meetings down there, the town meetings, there's a lot of equipment that's getting set up, broken down. So I had talked with Ockers, I had talked with Mr. Duff. We went and did a quote. It'd be putting 3 PTZ cameras like we have in here in the media center where they do the school committee meetings. 1 in the auditorium mounted, but then 2 that are like tripod mounted. And all the wiring, all the equipment that goes with it.
So you need it for upgrades at the school.
Yeah, it's
And
upgrades.
it's your money anyways.
Exactly. So, and we're trying to time it that, to make it, we don't want to be doing this work at the school during the school year. So, we're trying to get it so we can get the project rolling, so all the work is done while the kids are on summer break.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions?
So you have permission to do this? The school's
Yep,
okay?
Yep, I
Okay.
met with Mr. Duff, I met with Mr. Estrella, the facilities director. We went over everything. They're all on board with it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you
I'm
have
good
any
with
questions,
it.
sir?
No, I'm good.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve an increase of $30,000 to the Cable Advisory.
39.
39.
Did I write it wrong?
Yep.
This says 30.
Yeah.
Ours says 39.
Yeah, it's 39 for that thing, but.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the increase of $39,000 to the Cable Advisory Committee cap.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. You have your cap increase, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Next item, possible selection of a managed IT provider for the town. Anticipated vote. So we listened to 3 separate IT providers, 4 with Northeast, right?
4th with Northeast, yeah.
So, I think Entree was the, one that we're looking at the most because they came out cheaper than everybody else. There'd be a savings to the town, even with the addition of the 2 computers that were found today.
Correct.
So that brought it up another $100 to the amount. But they're still cheaper than everybody else and they still provide, very good services. And I think we're impressed overall with them. Did you have any questions about it?
No, I think we're good.
So this is about a $9,500 savings overall from our current provider to this provider. This provider is also on the Mass state contract, which our current provider is not on the state contract. And I would, if the town wanted to stay with the current provider, we'd have to go out to bid. And so it would be very technical for us to do a bid like that, to identify all of the technicalities of drafting that and sending that out. This company is on the state bid list. It's gonna save the town about $9,500. In the budget, it's based about an $8,500 of savings, because I suggest that we put in an extra $1,000 for, any new hires that we may have, any more email requests that we may have throughout the year, any premium licenses that need to get upgraded, so that there's a little play there for us in case we have to make some adjustment. But overall, it is going to, it has the potential of saving $9,500.
Very good. That definitely helps. Mr. Belize, you have any?
No, like I said last week, I already have my answer.
You're a firm no, so.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
We
I
need
guess-
this motion to have Mr. Ferrara sign.
okay. All right, so I'll make a motion to select Entree as the IT management provider for the town and authorize the town administrator to sign the contract.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the research.
No problem.
Okay. Next thing, discussion and possible vote on the Selectmen FY '25 budget, anticipated vote. All right.
So we're adding the line item for the 25,000.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'd add that.
So once again, we can kick the bucket.
Till next meeting. But this way, now we'll have firm numbers of everything,
Firm
because we
numbers,
voted
yeah,
for
sure,
everything.
Finally.
And we know we're gonna be going with.
Yeah.
We know who we're going for
Yeah,
phone
correct,
service
correct,
now, so we
yeah.
can add that in there.
Yeah.
So we'll have our firm numbers next
Firm
week.
numbers, yeah.
Wow, that's been a long time. All right,
Weeks and weeks.
so, yeah, we'll table this one. So we'll table this one till next meeting. All right. Warrants and bills, anticipated vote.
Make a motion to pay the following warrants. Number 58 vendor, $129,091.68. Number 59 payroll, $65,556.28. Number 60 vendor, $821,684.87.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Mr.
Bills.
Chairman, just
Oh,
on the bills, for the first one, the $10,001 one, that's coming from the matching grant, and then $4,999 is coming from the actual grant itself.
Reimbursement.
Huh?
Okay, but, so that number doesn't need to be on here, the 4,000?
The $4,999 needs to be on there now, from the state grant.
It's
So the
not on
bill's
here, though.
$15,000, right?
So, I thought we just had a vote on the 10,000 that we were taking out.
No, and then we're gonna use the $499 from the grant.
Okay.
Do you have the bill?
No, you have the bill in there.
The bill should be $15,000, right?
The bill is 15,000.
So
So we're voting on the matching part. for
The matching
grant, which is
part.
the 4,000.
separately?
Yeah, so there's a $10,001 match, and then $4,999 is coming from the reimbursable grant for the master plan from the state.
Okay.
Community
So,
planning
hold
grant.
on, hold on. So how much are we actually paying?
We're paying our match all up front, $10,100.
So we have to pay, well, then we have to vote for the 10,000.
$10,100,
Right.
yep.
The $10,000, $1.
$1, yep.
So that's what we gotta vote for.
Vote for it, yep.
We're not voting for the 4,000.
Yeah, well, you gotta spend the money too. We're gonna get it back though.
So there's two line
So it's
items.
two.
There's two, yeah.
So it's the 10,000 and the 4,000.
And the
Yep.
$4,999. The bill's $15,000.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion to pay the following bills. Central Mass Regional Planning Commission for $10,001. Central Mass Regional Planning Commission for $4,999. Northeast IT, $3,531. KP Law, $911.67. Amazon, $149.95. Verizon, $141.05. WB Mason, $338.94. Weston and Sampson, $4,000.
Second. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Okay, minutes review and possible acceptance of any minutes, anticipated vote.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for March 28th, 24.
Second. All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So this week, when we went out to officially to bid for the School Street Phase 2, Otis Street Improvement Project, that bid was released on this Wednesday at 12 noon. We have the documents here, the bid documents that was prepared by Weston and Sampson are available for inspection in my office, should anybody like to inspect. We have it posted. It's out there for bidding. We're anticipating to getting some competitive bids. All bids have to be returned by April 24th. And this week, we also, on Wednesday this past week, we met on School Street, myself, Jeremy Olson, Chris Dumphy, Bill Storty from Weston and Sampson, to walk on School Street. There was some neighborhood concerns about some of the touch-up work that needed to be done on some of the concrete in the area, but that is going to be rectified by a new concrete sidewalk that is going to be coming in this summer. So we had an impromptu meeting out there just to walk the street to make sure that the neighborhood was under the aware that there was going to be a new concrete sidewalk that is going to be installed there this summer. Capital Planning met this week also to address capital planning needs of all the departments. We've come up with a good draft, a very good draft of a rating system that we went over. We've also looked at some different forms that we were going to be using to evaluate projects and rate projects. So the capital planning is scheduled to meet again on Tuesday at 4 to continue the work on all of the capital planning projects. At that time, we will also have sewer in here. The sewer department will be coming to the capital planning committee. FinCom also met this week. We started looking at all the various departmental requests for articles. Again, I will have a list typed up, a nice draft for the board to review for next meeting of all the departments and encompassing all of them. I also had mentioned at our last meeting about Hamden Communications, about the possibility of having to look at that lease a little bit early. I did speak to the gentleman this week, Mr. Jackson, on the phone. It was very nice gentleman to deal with. He's got some exciting projects that he would like to see move forward in the coming years, possibly some additional towers that he's looking to put up at another part of his land that he owns. But he's comfortable with leaving the agreement the way it is, okay, until the end. So we were able to make a mutual connection, and he wants to work with the town to leave it the way it is at this point. I said, if he didn't want to change it, he needed to put it in writing. He said he wasn't going to do that.
Speaking of that, we had to do a bylaw change,
Yes.
because we had to add public safety gets any space on any towers too.
So, Art, when we do the diagnostic, that can come up in the diagnostic.
For the zoning.
Free
Yeah.
of charge, free.
We just need to
We
remember
get-
it, yeah. Yeah.
Pro bono.
Yeah. We were really happy about, the very positive communication, that we received from Mr. Jackson on that. Assessor's clerk position, I met with the Board of Assessors, we have that position, open. We had interviews this week, we had several different candidates, interview for the position, but there was, one person that really, stood out, that we're gonna be bringing forward, next week, for, consideration to the board, a local resident, and we feel that, this person would do a good job, as the assessor's clerk. So, the reason why we're pushing to have this clerical position filled is because, obviously, with the resignation of the assistant assessor, we want to at least have somebody in the office to take messages, answer phone calls. It's going to be a little bit of a transitional period for the office for a period of time, but we feel as though that just having a face in there that can respond to residents by getting messages to the board, I think is critical. In getting messages to the assessors, the board, is critical, in answering the phones. That's really half the battle. And obviously, this person is not going to know the in-depth details of assessing and all of that. We're going to have to find, and we're going to have to look for an assistant assessor, and the Board of Assessors are going to have to, that's one of their roles, is appointing the assistant assessor. I would like to work with them to try to help them and give them any guidance that they may need, to help them along. I suggested to them that they may want to consider potentially trying to bring in, somebody interim that maybe has retired, is not looking to, be the assistant assessor, but just on an interim basis, because there's critical dates for the month of April and the month of May for abatements and applications and deadlines and different things. There's critical dates within these next 2 months within that office that are going to be very important. There's a possibility that maybe we could reach out to somebody who is retired, who has some experience, who's been an assessor for some time, that maybe would be willing to help us out in the interim until we can find somebody, an assistant assessor. So that, along with obviously all of our articles that we're compiling. I'm also working with, we worked this week with Entree Technologies to identify all of the computers that were in the building. We have a complete grasp of all of the computers that they're going to be managing. They are not going to be managing the police department. They will be managing the emails for the police department, but they will not be managing the police department's computers. They will be managing all of the other computers and email accounts for the town. I think this is a real positive step that the town has taken to move in this direction, and we're going to continue to work for a smooth transition. We will obviously also, be in contact with Northeast IT for a smooth transition moving forward for them. Entree has assured us that they've done these types of transitions, even between Northeast IT in the past. So they've done this type of transitioning before. So we're hopeful, and we're mindful that we need to make it as smooth and as seamless as possible.
Anything else?
So that's it.
Do you have any questions?
I do not.
No, sir.
Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. New business. We have master plan website is up. And there are 3 ways that you can take a survey. You could do the QR code, go to the website, and there's also a hard copy in the selectman's office for doing that. You get that?
I don't think it's
Can you hold
in
it
focus.
closer?
Let's see if we can get it in focus.
It moved on me. There we go. It's reaching up. The higher I go, the more it wants to go. All right.
Yeah, I
So
think
that
that's
is
the best
for
you can
the
do.
master plan. Please log on, answer any of the questions, participate in this. This is for our community, and it helps everybody when you put your input in. Whatever it is, feel free to, express what you see the future of the town doing. Okay?
It is on the website.
And it is on the website. So, we make it easy for people. And all you gotta do is do that QR code, and then it comes up, and you just fill out the information and take a short survey, and there you go. You've done your part, you've done your civic duty. All right. Old business. Anybody have any old business?
I do not.
No, sir?
No? No? Okay. Correspondence. Any correspondence?
Nope.
No?
No correspondence.
All right. Comments and concerns. Any comments or concerns?
I have none.
Clueless today,
Yeah.
huh? All right. Sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna start bugging about painting the roads. I'll start early, so maybe we can get it before this summer.
Well, we have to get some of the snow off the road before we paint them right now.
And have it warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be so many, certain temperature before they can apply it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Sure, yeah.
it takes so long for my wishes that I'm gonna start early.
Well, government moves slow, sir. We'll have them painted for next winter, so. All right. Any other comments or concerns?
No, sir?
No, Mr. Furr?
I just want to thank everybody for the great Lucy Stone, for whoever was involved with Lucy Stone, the Easter egg, hunt. That was this Saturday. It was a great time. It was a fantastic job, Tim O'Brien and all the volunteers that were there. It was just a great event. And thanks to the police chief and his staff. Officer Williams was there and very helpful. CERT, everybody who was involved. Just really a good event, and there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people there.
Gets bigger every year,
Yeah.
just like our Christmas. The Christmas tree lighting, it's getting bigger every year, so, which is awesome to see. And I concur. Great event for the Easter egg hunt. My kids had a really good time, and I seen so many kids there, and very happy kids, and everybody did a great job. Great event again. Okay, anything else, sir?
No.
Anybody else have any comments or concerns? Mr. Condrat, how you doing tonight?
Joe Condrat, Board of Health. This Saturday, the 6th, there will be a rabies clinic
Yep.
at the Highway Barn from 9 to noon. So
Very good.
if you have a dog that needs a shot, get a shot. And from what I understand, the town clerk will be there to register tags for them.
It usually is. You get one-stop shopping. Get the rabies vaccination for your dog and get a new license. So, good catch. I completely forgot about that one. Thank you for the reminder on that one. Anybody else have anything? Comments, concerns? No? Anybody in the public on
No.
Zoom?
Usually there's a bar on the top that tells who's.
Yeah, there's no,
that's
where'd the bar go? Or there just isn't anybody. We're boring.
Gallery.
Yeah, there's nobody there, huh?
I guess not.
All right.
Nothing.
All right, so nobody has any comments or concerns. All right, next meeting is Thursday, April 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. That is a regular selectmen meeting, and that is next Thursday, April 11th, and that is at 6 PM.
Motion to adjourn.
Before you do that,
Uh-oh.
I may not be here on the 18th.
We're talking about
Not
the
spring
11th.
break.
I know, just, what is it?
It's spring break, the
Yeah.
18th.
Are you gonna do a party in Fort Lauderdale or something?
Yeah,
Are
actually,
you going to
yes.
Daytona or something?
Actually, lower than that.
Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah. Alright.
Okay.
So apparently Derek's gonna be going to,
Where
spring
the
break
sun
first.
is.
I know, huh? All right,
Yeah.
maybe we could skip that meeting, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a spring
Don't
break.
you have something exciting going on?
On the 18th? I can make something up.
Monday,
Monday, right? Aren't you going away to Idaho or something?
Oh, no, I'm going to Vermont to watch the eclipse.
That's
They
this
changed
Monday.
it, yeah.
Oh, did they? So now you can see it better in Vermont?
I think it's equal as the Midwest, but I'm not, every day it changes, so we'll see.
But we're gonna have 93%
They can see a
over here.
comet from 1,000,000 miles away, but they can't determine where this eclipse is gonna happen?
Burlington.
Mhm.
All right. Who knows? Might be Massachusetts. You might just want to stay put.
Yeah.
All right. So
I have a motion on the
Yeah.
floor.
Second.
All
There we
right.
go.
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.